did have an interview for the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have an open position, which we're going to appoint a person now.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Paula Pelosi to the Zoning Board of Appeals for the unfulfilled position by, is it David?
David Rosenberg.
Rosenberg. It's a 3-year term, and we've appointed her to fulfill that term.
I'll second that.
Motion.
Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hetzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Clyde?
Yes. First thing on the agenda is a public hearing for local law number 1 of 2013, authorizing the settlement of equitable claims by the town board. Any public comment? Yeah.
Bill Carroll. On this local law, authorizing the settlement of equitable claims by town board, is that because we have a lawsuit?
We don't have a lawsuit.
You don't have one? We don't have to pay anybody money?
It's not a lawsuit. This is a normal, which from what I understand, Bill, is that the town does not have any way to settle a claim against the town.
Right.
That's why this is being adopted.
Okay. Is this to do with Willow Lane or dog catcher or whomever or whatever?
Dog catcher, maybe. But
Maybe.
I can't go into
You can't go into that.
into that in a public meeting.
Very interesting. There's been a big thing about this dog warden. And I would really, I'd hate to see the town have to pay him anything. 'Cause he was dog catcher for a long time, and, you know, all of a sudden he was just released. So why would the town have to pay him? I mean, I guess the whole board voted on this, right? To release the dog catcher. Am I right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're
I wasn't here yet. So.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm just curious about this because I've watched a lot of meetings. I've seen a lot of things going on here about the dog catcher. And now apparently we got to pay him money because the town board didn't do it the right way. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Somebody shaking
Well,
their hand?
actually, go ahead.
we were advised by the attorney that as a civil service employee, that there are certain rules to follow, and we
Yeah.
have to have a local law in place, which we've never had before, when issues come before us, and we can resolve them easily by having a local law. And
Yeah, but if we didn't let him go in the first place, we wouldn't be having this right now. Maybe for something else, but not for the dog warden. Am I correct, or? I don't know, I'm asking a question, you know, if you don't want to answer, fine, but I just can't see this town spending money for this dog warden when you released him, and if you had advice from the lawyer, then you did it the right way, then why are we paying any money to him?
We didn't have advice from the lawyer that we did it the right way.
You didn't have advice from him? Okay. All right, I'm confused. So I guess you're gonna pay anyway, but I don't know. Thanks.
Can we have a reading of the law? Yeah, right. I think that's appropriate.
You want the settlement of the equitable claims?
No, you have a local law number 1 that we're having a public hearing on.
So you
Correct.
need to read it,
You need to read it.
or I'll read it.
Go ahead.
If somebody needs to read it.
You can read it.
Thanks.
The meeting of the town board of the town of Amenia held at Amenia Town Hall on the 13th day of, this is the resolution.
No, that's not the right one. Okay, all right.
Chapter 96, settlement of equitable claims, section 96.1, authority of the town board to settle equitable claims. The town board is hereby authorized to compromise or settle any equitable claim against the town of Amenia upon such terms which, in the judgment of the town board, are found to be just, reasonable, and in the best interest of the town, including such claims that may not be legally enforceable against the town at the time of such approval of compromise or settlement by the town board, except that this section shall not be construed to authorize payment of equitable claims that are barred by an applicable statute of limitations. An equitable claim is defined as a claim against the town for damage for a non-tortious cause of action for which there is no judgment docketed and no litigation pending. That's the law.
Is that an amendment to a section we had, or is that a new section?
We don't have a law. That's why we're doing it.
That's a brand new.
Right.
Yeah,
Which
the
the
town
town is
code-
not in compliance with the state of New York.
I'd like to ask, have we paid claims before,
I have no idea.
you know?
I don't
Dawn?
know.
Vicki, have we paid?
I believe so.
Please.
So I believe what we need to do is get this law on the books so that it can be done in the proper way.
Okay.
That's what my,
I'm not objecting to that. It's
We
just
need to have it on the
that we
books.
have paid claims in the
That's right.
past.
I have no idea.
Well, we won't get into it, but you know what I'm talking about.
This is basically giving the town the authority to settle claims against the town without going to court and
Correct.
accruing, lawyer fees and court costs.
With respect to then settling those sorts of claims, if you put this law into effect and you settle those claims, will that mean that the public will not have disclosure as to what claims are settled, how much they're settled for, so that the taxpayers who will ultimately be responsible financially won't know how much was paid in terms of a specific claim? Will that law cover such a scenario?
I would believe so. It's protecting personal information on both sides. You know, if there is such a claim coming before us, or in fact, if it has something to do with the, personnel at the town board, it's a protection for both parties so that everything is fair and equitable and both parties are happy with the solution.
Well, if this has to do with the animal control officer who was discharged, I know for a fact that that case is pending because he was not given due process. So, in other words, this will eliminate an Article 78 being filed against the town. Is that it, rather
There
than...
was no Article 78 filed against the town.
No, I know that there wasn't. This is...
Well, first of all, you can't discuss any legal issues in a public meeting.
Yeah.
Well, in general,
Well, that's what you're
in a
trying to
broad
do.
generality, we can. That's part of the openness and transparency of government.
Whatever.
I'm not asking a specific question with relation to a particular individual. I gave that as an example.
The local law says fair and equitable settlement, and that's what we have. And that's
But
pretty much all we can
this will
say.
avoid an Article 78 for a particular issue if...
There was never an Article 78
There was never an
filed.
Article.
I know there was never an Article 78. That
Nor
is
was there
not
ever
what I'm
discussion of
asking.
Article 78 filed.
I know there was not a discussion of it as well, but the possibility if a particular solution was not offered and accepted, then the next level would be for someone to go to an Article 78. So the question that I'm asking specifically is, will this kind of law prevent, in the case of an error made by the board in the future, someone filing an Article 78 in lieu of some sort of equitable settlement
No,
in this way? Okay.
absolutely not.
Thank you. So someone could still sue?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Hello. The only question I have is that would it be prudent of the board to invoke mediation or consider mediation in lieu of an Article 78?
We haven't done a 78, Article 78.
No, I'm not being specific. You're adopting a new law. When you're figuring out...
You're adopting this law to make the town of Amenia compliant with the state of New York.
Correct.
We have no law,
So-
nothing local
so-
law on the books.
And again, I listened to it, not that I understand it completely. But if there was someone who files a claim or has a complaint against the town, in lieu of an Article 78, would the town be willing to invoke mediation instead?
Sure, absolutely.
I think any avenue is open. We're
And
not- we're
I'm
not
just
closing
thinking,
any
you're
doors.
creating a law, would that be something that would be prudent to talk about? That's all.
We have in the past. The town boards have in the past negotiated. Okay? Yeah.
How come we didn't need this years ago, so to speak? Is it just as a result of recent...
Yeah, the attorneys have found that they don't have this law on the books and that they should have it on the books. It's just something that, it makes everything that, well, whatever you negotiate from here on in is covered.
Okay, they had to add one more thing.
Right. It's another,
Or 2 or 4 or 6 or 8 or 10.
right.
Well, basically, it's giving the town the authority to settle claims and to avoid court costs and avoid lawyer fees.
Any other public comment? I'll make a motion, we...
Just on this law, right? Just on this.
Yeah. We're not done yet. Okay? Make the motion to close the public hearing.
Second. Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Prody?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle? Yes. And Supervisor Clyde?
All right, so we need to vote to adopt this, and then we need to do the resolution. Let's see here. What's this, resolution number?
36.
We have a seeker finding.
Right. You read this, you read it already, correct? This is the seeker, the resolution number 36. All right, you read these. All right, now reread this. I'm going to reread this.
I just read the law, I didn't read the... We're doing the seeker first.
You want to read the seeker?
The meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Amenia held at the Amenia Town Hall on the 13th day of June at 7 p.m. Town Supervisor William Flood called the meeting to order. And are you making the motion?
Sure.
Seconded by Councilwoman.
Second.
Introduced the following resolution to wit, whereas at a meeting at the Amenia Town Board held on May 29, 2013, local law number 1 of 2013 was introduced by resolution number 30 of 2013. Whereas the town board held a properly noticed public hearing and subsequently adopted proposed local law number 1 of 2013 as adopted local law number 1 of 2013 during the meeting held on the 13th day of June 2013. Whereas the adoption of a local law adding a new chapter 96 to the Town of Amenia Town Code entitled Settlement of Equitable Claims is an unlisted action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. Whereas the Town Board is the only involved agency for the secret review and is deemed to be the lead agency for the review of the proposed action pursuant to secret. Whereas the Town Board has considered the proposed action as defined in sections 617.2b and 617.3g of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation regulations, whereas the Town Board has reviewed 1 short environmental assessment form, 2 criteria contained in section 617.7c of the DEC regulations, And 3, the text of Local Law Number 1 of 2003, Settlement of Equitable Claims, to identify any relevant issues of environmental concern, whereas the Town Board has thoroughly analyzed the identified relevant areas of environmental concern to determine if the proposed action may have a significant adverse effect on the environment, whereas the Town Board has reviewed and analyzed the proposed action in relation to the criteria set forth in Section 617.7C of the DEC regulations, whereas following its review and analysis, the Town Board has determined that the proposed action will have no adverse environmental impacts, and now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby declares itself lead agency for this action under seeker. Be it further resolved that the Town Board determines that the proposed action will have no adverse environmental impacts, and be it further resolved that the Town Board hereby adopts a negative declaration for the reasons articulated in the EAF.
Roll call, please.
Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
Billy, excuse me.
Sorry, public comment's closed.
It's not public comment, it's a procedural problem. It's a legal problem. You said you've already passed it.
What's that?
It says you've already passed it.
Let us read the local law, vote on that first, and then we'll
Okay.
vote on
No,
the
you can't
seeker.
vote on the law till you declare it negative.
We did that.
You didn't.
We did.
Yeah, I'm out of order. Sorry. If somebody wants to be a pain, you gotta do secret first.
We're doing secret right now.
This is
Yeah.
seeker. That's what I just read.
But you read it as the law has already been passed. It needs to be modified.
All right. Short environmental assessment form, Town of Amenia, Dutchess County, proposed action is new. The amount of land affected, NA this is the adoption of local law authorizing settlement of equitable claims. The amount of land affected, NA, will the proposed action comply with existing zoning and other existing land use restrictions? Yes. What is present land use? This is land use in vicinity of project is NA. Does the action involve a permitted approval or funding now or ultimately any other government agency? No. Does any aspect of the action have currently valid permit or approval? No. As a result of proposed action, will existing permit approval require modification? No. I certify that the information provided above is true to the best of my knowledge. The Town Board of the Town of Amenia. And does the action exceed any type 1 threshold? No. Will the action receive coordinated reviews proposed? As provided for unlisted action in 6 NYCRR Part 617.6? No. Could any action result in any adverse effects associated with the following: existing air quality, surface of groundwater, quantity, quality, noise levels, existing traffic patterns, solid waste production or disposal, potential for erosion, drainage, or flooding problems? No. Aesthetic, agriculture, archaeological, historic, or other natural or cultural resources or community or neighborhood character? No. Vegetation or fauna, fish, shellfish, or wildlife species, significant habitat, threatened, endangered species? No. A community's existing plan or goals are sufficiently adopted, or a change in use or intensity of use of land or other natural resources? No. Growth, subsequent development, or related activities likely to be induced by the proposed action? No. Long-term, short-term, cumulative, or other effects not identified in C1-5? No. Other impacts, including changes in use of either quantity or type of energy? No. Will the proposed project have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No. Is there likely to be controversy related to a potential adverse environmental impact? No. I make a motion that we accept the environmental assessment form as read and authorize the supervisor to sign it.
I'll second it.
Do we need a roll call on the existing, on the law? We did that?
We were starting our roll call.
Okay, so let's do that
Are
now.
you making this a separate, making this a motion? Yeah, so I have to do a roll call. Councilman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brody?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kesselberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Flatt?
Yes.
So we need to do the resolution adopting the local law.
Okay. Resolution number,
So we're skipping the other one, 36? Make it go to 36.
This one should be 36.
adoption of local law authorizing the settlement of equitable claims by the town board in the meeting of the town board, town of Amenia, held at the town hall on the 13th day of June 13th. Town supervisor William Flood called the meeting to order, and seconded by Councilwoman.
I'll second it.
Moved the following resolution to adopt a local law to be known as Local Law Number 1 of 2013, entitled Local Law Amending the Town of Amenia Town Code by adding a new chapter 96 entitled Settlement of Equitable Claims, whereas the following local law was introduced as Local Law Number 1 of 2013 by Resolution Number 30 of 2013 at a meeting of the Town Board held on May 29, 2013, whereas the property notice public hearing was held before the Town Board during the meeting on June 13, 2013, on Local Law Number 1 of 2013, and now therefore be enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Amenia as follows. Section 1. Statement of purpose and intent. The town board is determined as necessary in the best interest of the town of Amenia to enact legislation recognizing the authority of the town board to approve the settlement of equitable claims pursuant to the authority of section 10 IIA5 of the New York Municipal Home Rule Law. Equitable claims is non-tortious claims that have been docketed as a judgment of the time of such settlement. The control of the state of New York has expressed the opinion that the town boards may enact local laws recognizing the authority to settle equitable claims based on home rule law. The benefit to the town of recognizing such authority is that it permits the settlement of claims without the expense of litigation, the uncertainty of the ultimate award of damages that might be imposed against the town by a trial court. The town code of the town of Amenia is hereby amended by adding a new chapter 96 to the town code to read as follows. Chapter 96, Settlement of Equitable Claims. Section 96-1, Authority of the Town Board to settle equitable claims. The town board is hereby authorized to compromise or settle any equitable claim against the town of Amenia upon such terms which in judgment of the town board are found to be just, reasonable, and in the best interest of the town, including such claims that may not be legally enforceable against the town at the time of such approval or compromise or settlement by the town board, except that this section shall now be construed to authorize payment of equitable claims that are barred by an equitable statute of limitations. Equitable claim is defined as a claim against a town for damage for non-tortious cause of action for which there is no judgment docketed and no litigation pending. Section 3, the local law shall take effect immediately upon its filing with the state's Secretary of State. The following resolution was adopted upon with the following council men voting as follows.
Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti?
Yes.
Councilman Reamer?
Yes.
Okay.
We need to vote on the secret.
I thought we did.
No.
No.
We stopped the vote. No,
All
the
right.
first
I'll
one.
make a motion. We accept the the secret process, the secret form.
That was removed by second.
Yes.
So Councilman Reamer? Councilwoman Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle? And Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carried. All right. Now we have. Any public comments? You have more public comment or no? Yeah.
We have to adjourn.
Oh, actually, all right, we have to adjourn the public hearing, right? Is that,
We ended the
You
public
closed the
hearing.
public hearing already.
We already did that. We're in regular
okay.
meeting.
Public comment.
I have a question about the Willow Lane project. That was, I guess that was started last year. The bid was awarded to a Thomas Gleason. I understand that the pipe that was supposed to be put in was put in the wrong location. It wasn't put in the easement.
Mm-hmm.
And do I understand correctly that he wants to get paid to remove that pipe and then put it into the proper easement?
I'll be honest with you, we haven't heard from him. You know, we haven't paid him.
Okay.
So at this point, we're in litigation with him. Obviously, Stan knows that the Willow Lane project has not been paid. The county planning department and the county stepped in. We're trying to work an equitable situation out.
Okay. I would hope this town board would not pay the contractor for removing that pipe and putting it back into where it was supposed to be. I mean,
We haven't paid him.
I know, but
Right. So
I mean,
let's
it's coming up
get
there.
it clear before this gets out of control here.
Right.
We have not paid him a dime.
I understand
He
that,
will not get paid a dime until it's fixed.
but he shouldn't get paid any extra.
No.
It should be within what he bid on.
That's right.
Okay. I'm hoping that happens, because I can't see the taxpayer paying for a contractor's screw-up.
That's right. It's a mess. Our engineer dropped the ball.
That's what I heard. But, and also,
In fact, we have gone back to his attorney. He's changed attorneys. This is now the second attorney. His first attorney he met with our attorney, and they tried to work out a deal with him. They refused to, they never signed a contract. They have stuff to sign, so on the bonds and so on and so forth, that our engineer dropped, were never done properly. So they tried to get that done in order to give him some money. And he never signed anything and never agreed. He agreed to originally and never signed the agreement. Then he hired a second attorney, and then that's when the county has now stepped in. Our attorney's working with his new attorney, and they're trying to get this thing worked out.
and I see on one of these sheets here, the application and certificate for payment for a driveway. This was a road, right? This was a road where the project was done? It wasn't a driveway.
Part of it was a driveway.
Hardwood. A private driveway?
Yep.
A private driveway. Since when does taxpayers pay for a private driveway?
I guess, from what I understand, that I met with the county there. You were there the day we met with them?
With whom?
The county, Stanley was there the day we met with the county. In order to fix the problem of the drainage, because it was coming off the private driveway, they authorized the authorization of pipes, drainage put on that driveway to fix the problem. They didn't want to spend the money, the taxpayers' money, not have the problem fixed. So that's what they authorized.
One of the problems that there was even a problem, is that the contractor put the catch basins in too high.
Right.
And that's another thing that the contractor has not fixed.
Okay.
It was authorized by the county, by their engineer there.
What?
Their engineer was there.
Yeah.
So we,
The county, right, you got a
so
grant.
if I have a problem with my driveway,
Well, it's not a driveway, it wasn't a problem with the driveway. The drainage on Willow Lane has been a mess for years. The water coming off the driveway is the issue, part of it.
okay. So when I get a problem with my driveway, I can have county money.
No, you're on a
Pay
town
for it.
road. They won't pay for it.
That's a town road down there.
I'm only teasing you, Bill. You're right, but they fixed it. That's what they did. And we have an easement. They have the easements to repair the drainage. That's all done.
That's what we paid the
No wonder,
contractor to do.
really, no wonder we're in trouble. If we do things like this, we're in trouble.
Well,
I don't care, you got a lawyer here. You got a lawyer here, and I don't know what the hell he's doing, but apparently things are just being done haphazardly, and you pay the guy if he wants money
We didn't pay
because
him.
he screwed up. Yeah, but it looks like you're going to pay him something here. I hope it's not above his bidding price that he put in here for, because you already paid the engineer what, $12,000 something. He bid $7,000 something, so we're $5,000 over on
Well, you
him.
need to read the bids. You need to read the contract that they signed, because they have the right to, they went over their contract.
Right.
So that's authorized, Bill.
But the contractor's not authorized.
Correct. For the contractor, right. We have not paid the contractor.
Okay. Right, no,
The
I
engineer
understand.
got paid. The
Right.
lawyer has not been paid because that was not bid, part of the bid.
Okay,
And this was bid before we got, this was bid 2 years ago.
all right. So,
The bid was not bid correctly from day one, as far as I'm concerned.
all right.
So,
But this bid that he put in, he's not gonna get any extra money for that.
not as far as we're concerned.
Okay, I hope not.
He
Really.
want-
At
he
this
wants
point,
extra
He
money.
wants it. He wants more.
Well, he's the one that messed up,
Absolutely.
or or somebody, I mean, both the town
no question.
taxpayer or the county taxpayers, or county money shouldn't be spent because of his screw up.
Absolutely.
All right, hopefully you do that way. Thank you.
Yep. This has been going on for a year, almost.
Tom Warner. It appears that the present administration has not required for a background check for the safety of our children. If there is one done, it's supposed to be placed with the town clerk so that it can be retained at all times. Has any of that been done according to the state law?
Background checks?
Background checks have been done.
They're on file with the town
I don't know if
clerk.
you can file them with the town clerk.
I'm sorry?
I don't know if you can.
Mary did the one where you get a verbal,
Right.
so the town didn't have to pay to obtain the criminal history background, and there's no printout on them. I spoke to Mary this week, and she says that when she called, she provided the necessary information, and she received verbal responses.
That isn't satisfactory, I wouldn't think.
Well, you were in
At any-
the, did you do any when you were in the recreation department?
I'm sorry?
Did you ever do any?
Didn't do any.
No, you never did any. So this is the first time.
You didn't do any either.
This is our first one.
It was
Right.
supposed to have been done. When the law came
It's
down
done.
and you received it, no action was taken.
That's not true. So we have they did do the background checks.
A verbal thing, that just won't hold water.
I don't know. We'll see.
Did we pay?
Our insurance company, no, we
Did
didn't
we
pay
pay
for it.
for
No,
it?
there's no pay. There's no charge.
Okay.
Our insurance company is the one that gave us the name, I believe, to do it. But I'll check with her,
It's very
Mary.
odd that they wouldn't give any documentation that X number of people
She
were.
got it like an ID number or something. So Mary has all of that information in a secure personnel.
Correct. There's a person, it's locked in the personnel files.
Okay,
That's
so
why
there,
I-
it is documented
Right.
in some
Oh, yeah, yeah.
fashion, yes.
Well, according to the state letter that all of you saw that required it to be done, stated that it would be on file with the town clerk.
It is on file.
All records
But I
are
don't think you can
supposed
get
to be there.
personnel files, but I'll double check the law with that.
Just give her a list.
What?
She can just give her a list.
Right, whatever.
Whatever
It's just-
that complies with the law.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I just want to, I think the children are entitled to be protected.
They are. Any other public comment?
You're up.
Hi, Sally Nelligan Leaf, and I live in Wassaic. I know that we do have a law on file about properties that have been foreclosed on, about keeping the lawns up and things like that. I have talked to Victoria, and I've also talked to John Fenton. The place, there is more than one place, but the place I've been complaining about is 218 Old Route 22, or maybe it's called Main Street. And I listened to the meeting last month when John Fenton was in front of you people asking basically for money to clean up some of these properties, and it was, oh, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I think John is getting the runaround on getting the money to clean up these properties. And if this property had been cleaned up when I first complained about it a long time ago, like if Stanley had extra time and his crew, you guys could have worked that out and paid him and saved money so that you would not have to get outside contractors at this time. And now the place at 218, there is garbage under everything else, and my mom lives right next door, and we're getting mice, and we have to see this every day. And they have been coming to do the lawn. They've done the lawn twice in the past 2 months, and they do a quick job on the front lawn, and they did take the bushes down because twice my son-in-law, Todd Yerkes, who owns the property, had to cut the bushes himself. So apparently, all the bushes are completely taken down now, and they're all thrown in the back next to the shed with this other mess that's back there. So I think the town board should come up with the money, you're going to get it back, and take care of these properties that need to be taken care of. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we need to authorize John to have the garbage and brush removed from 218 Old Route 22, and there's also a property on Bog Hollow Road. I spoke to him about it before the meeting. So I think we need to give him authorization to do that for those 2 properties.
I don't think you can do it just for 2. There's about 16 or 20 of them.
No, there's 2.
Well, there's 2 that are.
There's 2 that he is
Right.
asking
But
for
there are
at this time.
I think there are 20 properties that are in foreclosure in Amenia, somewhere between 15 and 20.
These aren't just properties that are in foreclosure. I know. These are 2 properties that
You
have.
got one right across the street.
As I was saying, these are 2 properties that have piles of garbage, and the only ones that he wants authorization for at this time are 218 Old Route 22 and another property on Bog Hollow Road. So I think we need to give him the authorization to be able to remove that from these properties, and then whatever expense, put it on the taxes on the property.
Are these in foreclosure, those 2 properties?
Yes.
Yeah.
So no one's living there, they're empty?
Correct.
Yeah.
Where's the garbage coming from?
It's garbage that was left there.
Year and a half.
It's been on the property that long?
Yeah.
Okay, because I received that too from John, and he was talking about a third party, and I don't know how that would relate to the town actually removing the garbage, but we do have to take care of it, and it should be assessed to the tax levy of the property when the property is sold.
That's what we did with the one property before. And that's what he wants to do with these. He wants to remove the garbage and assess the cost to the taxes.
Yeah. The town would have to pay the money out and then be reimbursed when there's a settlement on the property.
Right.
Whether it's a short sale or whatever the bank,
Yes,
sells it.
because we would have a lien on
So,
it.
Well, there's some litigation that has to be done, I think, first, I would assume, before you can,
well, that's what
That's what-
Gibson was
Right.
talking about that. But I think that takes too long. I think it's just, the garbage is just going to keep piling up.
right, but we still have to file litigation against the not a litigation, but a lien against the
You
property.
have to file a lien.
Right,
Well, that's what we'll do, but
right,
So
but you
we-
only can do that certain times, once a year with the county to make sure that you get your tax money, you get paid with your taxes. That's what happened with John L. Road, we missed it. So that's going back in again this year.
So if we were to do this now, could it be in that
There's only certain times,
schedule?
there's only one time of the year that you can assess, you can put a lien, you can go to the tax rolls and put a lien on the property. So that's what we have to be careful of, to make sure that it gets done and done on a regular basis.
So
it
we
gets
missed the
done.
window on these 2 properties?
we
Or-
don't know.
No, I don't know yet.
I think we should go ahead and do it. I mean,
I
it
think
has to
so
be
too.
done.
They make a motion to authorize John Fenton.
Are you just gonna do these
Garbage
2, or just gonna do,
We're going
you're
to
gonna
do
make
the
it a
2.
law?
We're going to do the 2 that he's asking for at this time.
Okay. I think that was the question, is if there's more, because we have multiple properties that are in foreclosure. That we have with some,
Well, I think we need to address this now, and then we need
Sure.
to get a local law to authorize us to do that. But I would
Right.
second that motion, that we should.
all right, you want to go,
Can you finish the motion?
Yes, I authorize The town board authorizes John Fenton to have the garbage removed at 218 Old Route 22 and another property on Bog Hollow Road, and have whatever costs are accrued by removing the garbage to be put on the taxes of those two properties.
I'll second that and then ask where we're gonna, I think we have to put a line in our budget specifically for that,
It
because
comes out of general fund at this point.
we don't have a
Right,
line.
we don't
So
have
do
a
you have a
line.
line that would work for property maintenance of
Well, we would
foreclosed
have,
property?
We'd have to create.
we'd have to do that at budget time, I would think.
Right.
You know,
Right now,
meantime,
we'd
where do you
have to
pull
come
the
out of
money from?
contingency.
Mhm. We'll have to see where we are. No, obviously we have some money, but there's no question, we have to come up with a line as to where we're gonna put this.
I think we have to do that at their next meeting.
Right.
Councilwoman Miller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brody?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle? And
Yes.
Supervisor Flood?
Yes. But we do have to do a local law for the remaining properties as we go through this stuff, so there are more of them. And if you notice, they're only mowing like the fronts, the back, some of the sides, and they're just generically mowing them once a month, so it's not, the one across the street's a prime example.
What happens if it's a living, it's not in foreclosure, and you still have the same problem?
I don't know. That's,
We're right now, we're dealing with them as they come to our attention
Can I ask a question?
by our code enforcement officer.
So then, this local law for the lawn to be cut and whatever, doesn't include?
This, there is no local law to cut the lawn. The lawn is being cut by someone hired by the bank or whoever, the mortgage, whoever holds the mortgage.
Right, but there was something passed a while ago about that.
correct. You have the right to notify the banks. What's happened is that the banks have sold the properties to these companies that are buying these houses. So you have to step back, you have to go and find out who's actually in charge of these buildings.
Okay.
So that's what we're trying to do. Then the problem is you have to do title searches to find out
Well,
who,
I don't have a computer, and I know who owned it, and I know what bank owned it, so.
but the banks have sold them.
He knows,
Right.
he has been in touch with the bank, and basically, the way the law is written, the banks are only responsible for basic maintenance, which is cutting the lawn. So that's how they're getting away with not doing any more than mowing.
But the
But
state,
John has checked into that.
the state is trying to work out something with these banks or whoever's holding companies and so on and so forth that own these houses. But I don't know at what point they're gonna get at. So I know
They
Gibson talked to us the
they
other day
change so
about-
frequently. The mortgages are always being sold, and then you can't access information on that mortgage for 30 days.
See, Senator
After the
Gibson
sale.
is trying to close the loopholes
Yeah.
right now.
There's buildings, some of the buildings in Wasake, there's people that wanna buy them. They can't find even the bank to buy them.
To get a
So
payoff.
They wanna get the payoff, there's people that wanna buy them, so.
I know, it took me, when I paid up my mortgage, I think it took me 2 years to get the paperwork, because it had been sold so many times.
Right.
Yeah, it's a mess, there's no question. All right. We still in public comment? Is there any more public comment? Jeannie?
I just have a question. If we have a question on something that's under discussion, will we be able to talk about it, or do we have to speak at public comment? Is discussion just between you and whoever is discussing, and how does that work?
For the ARC? So,
Yes.
yeah, I think we'll probably open it up.
Okay.
I would assume that's what we're gonna, if the board's okay with that, we'll have a discussion.
Afterward,
Is everybody?
Huh?
afterward, we can comment on it?
Yeah, I think so, because obviously there's a lot of people here to discuss it, yeah. Right? Sure. I have no problem with that.
Is anyone else signed up for public comment?
Anybody else at this point, public comment?
Jerry?
Yeah, me, but that was about that, and I'll listen first.
Okay, all right. Water department report, I don't have anything. Building department, I've got, town board members, please find May's monthly report for building department as building permits go. We have issued six new building permits, which totals $1,200, and one expired permit fee of $80. We are continuing with certificate of occupancy searches along with fire inspections, and for this month we did one search. Totals 100 as far as fire inspections a month. We did 4 inspections at total 625. For the month, the total for the month is $2,005, which brings the year-to-date total of $16,669.60. Sincerely, John Fenton, Code Enforcement Officer. Stanley?
Seeing how Bill Carroll brought up Willow Lane, I'm going to touch on it. About a month ago, right now everything seems to be working all right. You know, catch basins are getting water. On Colucci's property, there was a catch basin installed. Water wasn't even going in it, so we went and regraded it, so water went into it. On Dingy's property, what the driveway Bill is talking about, when that was installed, the basins were 6 to 8 inches too high. They weren't catching any water, except the rainwater, and it's all uphill. You know, the contractor should have stopped, and he could have adjusted the basins. But no, they continued on, got the basins in the ground, then said the basins are too high. I mean, contractor blamed the engineer blamed the contractor. You know, somebody's responsible for this. I mean, we shouldn't be paying, or the county shouldn't be paying $10,300 to fix a driveway because the basins went in wrong. There was no reason in this world why them basins couldn't have been adjusted. I mean, they just went ahead and put them in. And I was there the day the county said we got to protect our investment, but that still didn't make it right. The engineer should be responsible, or the contractor, for that driveway. But you know, everything, and even the inlets to the catch basins up on the hill.
Yeah, but Stanley, we've been through this a year and a half into this thing.
Right.
So the county's involved in it. We're sort of out of the loop a little bit, other than we have to sign
We're
off for the money.
smack dab in the middle of the
We
loop.
got to get this project done. I mean,
Well, the county's stepped into at this point. They're the ones that are negotiating with us at this point.
Right.
So we'll see where we are.
I know they've asked me for an estimate for finishing it.
Right.
And I have no problems finishing the job
shouldn't have
myself. I don't mind doing it as long as we get paid, which we will. But I cannot see Gleason get paid for work that he's done wrong. I mean, it's just not right.
Oh, yeah, but that's right.
We've
We've had those conversations with the county. You know, you've been there with us.
Right. His estimate is 88,000 something. I mean,
Right.
It should be way less than that. So anyway, with all the rain, we've been doing all right. Everything's holding up. This week we had a culvert pipe on North Road that got jammed up. So I got Joe Palkey from Dover Highway Department. He came up with the fire truck and we flushed it out. There was a part from a Subaru in it, a plastic water jug from a Subaru in it, which got jammed up. So we took the jug out and it works. Pipe's in rough shape, we gotta replace it later on. Then we had one on Perry Corners Road that got jammed up with gravel, and he flushed that one out for us. We've been doing some blacktop here and there, fixing cracks and uneven roads. Town of Northeast came down with their drag box paver, so we didn't have to pay for a paver. We had the town of Northeast, Ankrum, Pine Plains, Washington, and Dover helping us. So we had all kinds of trucks. And we're pretty much done with the blacktop. Now we're going to turn around and seal them up maybe next month, I'm hoping, if the weather dries. Roads are doing all right. We'll get some potholes on the dirt roads, but nothing serious.
You got a permit permit came through today for the MyGap?
No, that's the application.
Is that the application for MyGap Road from the
Yeah, we have a pipe on MyGap that's falling apart, so we have to get a permit because there's wetlands and everything, so we applied for the permit for that. And once again, we can't do anything with that pipe unless it really gets bad because of the water table. You know, the water levels are so high. Same with the FEMA project on Tower Hill. We can't get into the brooks now, but we could do Tower or Willow Lane. I mean, the water wouldn't really affect us on Willow Lane. So I told the attorney there the other day on the phone that, you know, if we got the okay to do Willow Lane, we could start it real soon and have it done soon. We just have to find out who's going to get paid. It's a lot of work down the Willow Lane to be done yet.
Oh, I know.
But, a lot of trees, a lot of rock. And I think Mr. Slade has been real patient. I mean,
Yep.
That's all I have. Any questions?
Oh, I know, I do have a question. The building.
The highway garage.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
No, I haven't forgotten about it. I'm doing the preliminary layout, and I think we should hire an engineer. You said we had some money for drawings, for formal drawings. Hire an engineer not to exceed whatever money we have in that budget line to draw it up and do the bid specs. But I'm doing the layout that we talked about in your office
Right.
a couple weeks ago. And I've had a couple calls into Leroy and I haven't heard back. Have you heard from him at all?
No, I haven't heard either.
So, you know, I'd like to have it ready for next week so that we can move forward on that and get a bid on it.
It's starting to get late here now.
We also have the resolution for parking on Mechanic Street that you noted that was an unsafe condition.
Right.
Which was in front of the board before and it was tabled, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But since then, we've received a letter from the Weebatuck School on behalf of the students, parents, and community center members of the Weebatuck Central School District. I would like to bring a serious road and school bus safety concern to your attention. I'm referring to the area in Amenia where Mechanic Street meets Route 343. In this location where buses pick up and drop off students, cars can park parallel on either side of the street or off-street perpendicular to Mechanic Street. Therefore, at any time, cars can be parked on one or all of these locations or entering and exiting off-street or on-street parking. This area is frequently congested and busy during the loading and unloading of students. In addition to the congestion and obstructed visibility caused by the parked cars, another danger is the fact that students and others walk on the sidewalk behind parked cars. Weebatuck's head bus driver, Jerry Heiser, has personally observed cars pulling in and out of the parking spots, cars backing onto Mechanic Street from the Cozy Corner restaurant, cars coming onto Mechanic Street from Route 343, cars pulling in and out of Dollar General, and all at the same time. We are appealing to you for assistance in addressing this dangerous situation before something serious occurs. Thank you in advance for your attention and response. From James A. Grotto, Superintendent of Weebatuck Central School. Can we do the resolution at this time?
Oh, yeah.
Since we also had a report from Morris Associates on September 12th recommending that prohibiting parking on both sides of Mechanic Street in the vicinity of 343. He recommended striping and no parking signs as well to delineate the zones. What number would that be, John?
38.
At a meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Amenia, held at the Town of Amenia Town Hall on the 13th day of June, 2013 at 7 p.m. Councilwoman Perotti, seconded by Councilwoman
Hitzelberger.
moved the following resolution to introduce a proposed local law to be known as Local Law Number 2, 2013, entitled A Local Law Establishing a No Parking Area on Mechanic Street, amending Chapter 113, the Town of Amenia Town Code by adding a new section 13-6. Now therefore being enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Amenia as follows. Section 1, Statement of Purpose and Intent. The Town Board has determined that the installation of a new curb along the east side of Mechanic Street from the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343 to a point 113 feet south of the southern edge of the crosswalk at the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343 has resulted in the narrowing of a travelway on Mechanic Street and consequently restricted the turning movements for vehicles entering and exiting Mechanic Street. In addition, the town board has determined the vehicle parking on both the east and west sides of Mechanic Street within 20 feet of the crosswalk at the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343 poses a hazard to pedestrians as well as to drivers and passengers of vehicles on Mechanic Street. Therefore, in order to increase the travelway on Mechanic Street and make it easier for vehicles to turn onto and to exit Mechanic Street near the intersection of Route 343, and to improve the safety of pedestrians and drivers and passengers and vehicles on Mechanic Street near the intersection of Route 343, the town board has decided it is necessary to prohibit parking on Mechanic Street near the intersection of Route 343. Based on recommendations made by the engineer for the town highway superintendent, and the New York State Department of Transportation, the town board has determined that it is in the best interest of the town of Amenia to prohibit the parking of any vehicles along the east side of Mechanic Street from the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343 to a point which is 113 feet south of the southern edge of the pedestrian crosswalk at the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343, and along the west side of Mechanic Street from the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343 to a point which is 62 feet south of the southern edge of the pedestrian crosswalk at the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343. The town board believes that prohibiting parking in the above designated areas will make it easier for vehicles to turn onto and to exit Mechanic Street and will improve the safety of pedestrians and drivers and passengers of vehicles in the area of the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343. Section 2. The Town Code of the Town of Amenia is hereby amended by adding a new section 113-6 to Chapter 113 to read as follows. 113-6, parking prohibited along Mechanic Street. The parking of any types of vehicles, including but not limited to automobiles, trucks, tractor trailers, campers, buses, mobile homes, motorcycles, and/or scooters, shall be prohibited on Mechanic Street at the following locations. Number 1, along the east side of Mechanic Street from the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343 to a point which is 113 feet south of the southern edge of the pedestrian crosswalk at the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343. 2, along the west side of Mechanic Street from the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343 to a point which is 62 feet south of the southern edge of the pedestrian crosswalk at the intersection of Mechanic Street and Route 343. B, the town highway superintendent shall install and maintain appropriate signs along Mechanic Street to indicate that parking is prohibited in the above described areas. Section 3. The local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the State Secretary of State. Pursuant to the municipal home rule law of the State of New York, it is necessary to hold a public hearing upon this local law. Councilwoman Perotti offered the following resolution, which was seconded by Councilwoman Hitzelberger, who moved its adoption. Whereas on June 13, 2013, the Town Board introduced its proposed local law for the Town of Amenia to be known as Town of Amenia Proposed Local Law Number 2 of 2013, entitled A Local Law Establishing a No Parking Area on Mechanic Street, amending Chapter 113 of the Town of Amenia Town Code by adding a new Section 113-6. Be it resolved that a public hearing be held in relation to the proposed changes as set forth in the form of notice, hereinafter provided, at which hearing parties and interests and citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard, to be held at the Town Hall on June 27, 2013 at 7:00 p.m. That notice of said public hearing shall be published in the official newspaper of general circulation in the Town of Amenia by the town clerk at least 5 days before such hearing, that such notice shall be in the following form. Notice of public hearing. Take notice that the Town Board of the Town of Amenia will hold a public hearing at the Town Hall, 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York, on June 27, 2013 at 7:00 p.m. on proposed local law number 2 of 2013, entitled A Local Law Establishing a No Parking Area on Mechanic Street, amending Chapter 113 of the Town of Amenia Town Code by adding a new Section 113-6. Take further notice that copies of the aforesaid proposed local law will be available for examination at the Town of Amenia Town Hall, 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York, during normal business hours on all business days between the date of this notice and the date of the public hearing. Take further notice that all persons interested and citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard on said proposal at the time and place aforesaid. The foregoing resolution was voted upon with all councilwomen and councilmen voting as follows.
Supervisor Flood?
I'll abstain.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Crody?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Got any more?
I just had, I followed up with Stanley this week about the Sharrows. I did look, if we did the work ourselves, so just for the cost of materials, it would be 2 gallons of Hydrofast waterborne traffic paint, which paint 350 yards per gallon, so we need 2 buckets of that, I guess, or buckets. They might come in 5-gallon buckets. And then the stencil is $275, so just for materials that would be $447. But Stanley, you said you had a...
I gave you an estimate. I put it in your mailbox for one.
Okay, I must have missed it. I'm so sorry.
I think it was $85 per bike,
Okay.
but the minimum was $285, or was it $385? I put it in your mailbox anyway.
So that's going to be cheaper than just raw materials. That's awesome.
Yes, but you won't own the stencil.
We won't own the stencil, but we also don't know if it's something that we're going to do.
I also
long
checked
term.
with the county. They have a company, he said he thought it was from Connecticut,
Mhm.
which has the county bid, which he thought we could piggyback off from,
Okay.
which I didn't get that yet, so I should be getting that real soon. So I think we ought to wait and see what that is if we're going to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. So it should come in less than $1,000, I think, though, overall, which...
Sounds like it's an investment if that's, you think this is the right way to go. I mean, ultimately, for the shared bike lane. I just was riding a bike over in Brooklyn, and I thought it worked really well to have those symbols, and it clarified for me where a biker should be, and it felt a lot safer in traffic.
So what, do we paint them all the way up Mechanic Street? How far apart?
It was 250 yards. So
Can you put a bike on Mechanic Street?
if you have a Sharrow, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you just can't park it there.
So you paint them,
Just
you
can't
paint
park
them
it
both
there,
ways?
right? You can't park there.
You paint them both ways, up and back?
You can space them out. So if you have one coming here and then on the other side like that.
There's going to be quite a few of them then.
So, but we'll space them out and make sure. I have the measure, so we'll go out this weekend and just physically measure the space. We had thought possibly putting one up at the top of Depot Hill Road, so you know that the rail trail's coming up, and then once you hit the rail trail, down to 343, just to
Okay.
mark it. But again, it's it's a matter of cost, and I just want to make sure that we're doing it within spec and that you're going over it with us to make sure that we're doing something that makes sense.
Right.
Because the purpose is to make motor vehicles aware that there are bikes coming off the rail trail there.
And we got Dunn's Road, we have Sheffield, Sharon Station, so
Yeah.
this could get expensive.
Well, let's start with one and see if it works, how it takes us. I mean, when I go home, I take Mechanic Street over to Railroad Avenue so I can head north on 22 to make the turn into my driveway. And sometimes people are driving down 45 miles an hour by the time they hit the rail trail. And the last thing I want to see is them hit something on the rail trail at that point. And hopefully this will
Slow it down.
slow it down, raise that awareness, and make it a safer place.
Okay.
So,
it's worth a try.
Or some of those cars.
What's the distraction factor on all those like pictures all up the road? Did your committee think of that one? Is there anything to that one? And also, if you see 15, you might not even pay attention to one. In other words, you can overdo it. And what's the size of the, that's my,
No, that's a really,
I don't know.
that's a really good point. That,
Otherwise, we'd have an awful lot of signage on every road in the whole country.
well, it's painted on the road, not the signs going on the side.
That's what I'm responding
Yeah,
to.
and
That's what I'm saying.
we're thinking that leaving that blank space as it's staggered down the road instead of marching down the road like that will allow you to better view it and absorb that information as you drive.
I have my doubts. That's my opinion. You can overdo something, just be a little careful with some of this.
Okay.
You're not going to cure everybody's desire to speed, which seems to be the way it is more than ever.
They don't want you on the street.
How many things you're looking for?
No, I know that to be true too, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay, Arlene.
I'll let you know what I find out from the county.
Thank you so much, Stanley.
Any other committee reports?
He's coming.
Hi, everybody. Pete Clare, Amenia Recreation. I'm filling in for Christine tonight. Decided to give her a night off. She's here pretty much every meeting. We'd like to thank her for all of her hard work, but she's home with her family tonight, which is a good thing. So only a couple of quick notes for you. Farm League Baseball ends June 22nd, so next weekend. And starting up soon, if it hasn't started already, we have Babe Ruth Baseball, Connie Mack, and the Amenia Monarchs. So please go to our town website, ameniany.org, and check out our schedules, and hopefully you'll be out there to support our local teams. Also currently going on, it started tonight, summer camp registrations. Kathleen was here tonight taking forms, so you have 2 opportunities to hand in your forms, June 13th and June 18th, from 5:30 to 6:30. Contact Kathleen Howard. You can pick your applications up here at the town hall, and then she'll be here to receive them. And she's also going to be reached by phone. Summer camp starts June 24th through August 2nd. The camp hours are 9 to 3 o'clock. Camp ages are 5 to 13 years of age. For town residents, first child is $80 a week, second child is $60 a week. And out-of-town residents, it's $90 a week to have your child here. That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
I have a few more recreation items. The Town of Amenia's Senior Barbecue will be Saturday, August 10th from 10 to 3 at the Wassaic Firehouse. Residents must be over 55. Reservations are required and must be made by July 28th. Call Orpha Thomas at 877-0492. Also at the Recreation Commission meeting, Linda Gregory is looking at available times for 2 new programs that are proposed. Someone is proposed volunteering to have an art class for adults and also a class for writing poetry. We'll let you know if they are going to go ahead and offer these classes and when they will be offered. Also at the Recreation Commission meeting, a subcommittee was established with Pete Clare and Chip Watt, who's also going to be working with Aaron Howard and possibly Ken Pomacel to do an overall assessment of the park, starting with Beekman Park, to see exactly what needs to be done on the park going forward, as far as from a safety aspect and a long-range aspect. The park gets a lot of use, doesn't get a lot of rest in between. So they're going to look to see what needs to be done there, what needs to be repaired or made better, and we're looking to probably do it in phases, looking at the actual, any safety issues first. And that's all I have for recreation.
Is that all the rec properties within the town, like these fields in Wasaik, or just doing Beekman Park?
They're going to start with Beekman.
I had,
Bill? Is there going on?
I just,
Hold on. Gretchen has something first.
I just had for recreation, Victoria had mentioned that one of the problems with the septic was the paper towels, and they had gotten, was that a grant or a donation for the new paper towel holders for the bathrooms?
He's still working on it. It looks like we're going to get a donation for the paper towel holders and another soap dispenser.
So the other thing, which I had spoken to her and I wanted to share with y'all, was I had thought that perhaps that would be a good place to try a solar-powered outlet to put a energy-efficient hand dryer in, because it's not just drying your hands after using the bathroom that you use the paper towels for. Sometimes, especially when it rains, you want to, maybe dry off your shoes or something like that. And so we could see if we could find something that was affordable to go into that space. So what do y'all think?
Yeah, I have no idea what they cost. I think that would be the factor for sure.
And if it would work, I mean, it seems like it would take a lot of energy.
Yeah, we get a week of rain,
create.
where are we?
There are a couple of companies that specialize in that type of, I was trying to find one that was just, a solar-powered hand dryer, but actually you have to do the outlet and then the separate low-energy dryer, but
Yeah, I thought
There's-
you were going to kind
there
of
seems to
research
be,
it a little
yeah,
bit.
I'll research
But,
it,
yeah.
but I didn't want to waste the time if it's not something we all don't
Well,
want to do.
why don't you start with electric hand dryers? That's so much better than the paper towels.
I actually had Sean look into an electric hand dryer when I was up there the other night. He suggested that when we just go with electric hand dryer instead of worrying about paper towel dispensers. Like, fantastic. So he's going to look up in the Granger catalog, see what they cost.
That's what we have here.
We'll take it from there.
We have them here,
Okay.
hand dryers.
Yeah,
The Grangers.
which makes sense.
Right.
Do that. So he's going to look it up and he'll get back to us on that.
Okay, but you're going to look into getting the other soap dispenser, right? For the,
There's actually two there.
there's two there?
So I'm going to get you 2 cartridges from Sunlight.
For the cartridges? Okay,
Just so we have it there for now.
all righty.
Yeah.
But when you do these fields and stuff, are you gonna look at all the parks? Or are you gonna do,
Yes, yeah, we mainly, we're gonna start with Beacon Park because of the amount of use that it gets, especially we go right from baseball right into soccer. We wanna look at the fields itself to see if they're getting worn down, if there's how many bear spots there are and stuff. Because it's been a while since we've done any, I don't even know when the last time we did aerating. I'm just back into this now, so we're trying to evaluate all this stuff. But just see what maintenance might need to be done. I noticed out at the outfield lights, there's some large trees growing up, and we might have to look at maybe some weed trimming so it doesn't affect the lights. So
you have some lights that
we're
don't
gonna start in
even,
the
some
next
lights don't
week or
even point
so.
on the fields.
What's that?
Some lights don't even point on the fields.
Yeah, these are all things we're gonna go check out, and we want to get something up and going.
We had the electrical boxes fixed a month ago, so they were all open and broken.
Yeah.
We fixed 4 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, it
So
just
we're
seemed
gonna
like a
get
better,
sprinkler
a good idea to
systems,
do a
field maintenance
subcommittee.
schedules, reseeding, overseeding, fertilizer, whatever, so it's gonna encompass everything. So hopefully within the next couple of months, we'll have a real good plan put in place.
Okay.
So the other thing was for the Recreation Committee, which is the sponsor for the Knit and Spin once a month. We did participate in the International Yarn Bombing Day, and this is the piece we put up right in front of Town Hall. And It was just a little thing that we did during the workshop on Saturday. And it's down already because the day is over. But it made Amenia participate in an activity that was participated in from folks from Texas, Switzerland, Belgium, Australia, Minneapolis, California, Seattle. So it was just our little dot on the map there, and I just wanted to share that. So
Thank you.
it was kind of cool. Do you need
I
that?
wondered about that.
Yeah, that's what that was. It was supposed to be a flower for those of you who saw it. That was it. Thank you.
Arlene, where'd she go? Did she oh, there she's right there. See, they're hiding
That's
over
all right,
there.
I needed to stand up anyway. That was good. Anyway, Arlene Juliana, town historian, just a couple of things. We've got, I attended the Dutchess County Historians quarterly meetings, which are this Sunday, so I thought I'd bring you all a copy of the agenda so you can see what we're doing. All right?
Thank you.
It might make you remember what the heck to talk about. Oh, sorry, Bill.
Thank you, Arlene.
And also, I have here Heritage Day speaker schedule. I thought you might be interested. This comes under this Dutchess County.
Thank you.
We ought to get involved. Just keep somebody.
Thank you.
That's great.
In the matter of the agenda that was on Sunday's meeting, I gave copies, as you see, to the young man under announcements. I just want to bring this to your attention. This is the young man named Joey Cavassini from Wappingers. That's part of the agenda where we make announcements, or announcements are made by whoever wants to say something. This young man is 13 years old. He's co-historian of the town of Wappingers Falls. And is he ever great? He is really very articulate in what he's doing, knows basically the theory, if you want to call it that, of what a historian does, and is really and very well spoken. Does a great job. So I don't know if there's ever been anybody that young, but he is very good. So young people can get involved if they want to. It's not the greatest attraction in the world, apparently, the study of history. But the meeting was conducted by our historian, Will Tatum, Dutchess County historian, and pretty much, I think the agenda itself says basically that there is some progress being made, but slowly. Not every community is getting involved in this new way of handling Dutchess County history, where we all get to be involved periodically. But anyway, enjoy that. And the next meeting of this particular group, and it will be in August. They're going to meet in Pauling. I had offered, Bill had agreed, you had agreed if they wanted to use here, meaning, but they had, Pauling had offered originally anyway, so they finally ironed it out. But eventually we may have a Dutchess County Historian Quarterly meeting here, because we have the space. But the theme of Path Through History, that is still being maintained. There's been some discussion, as to what it really means, so to speak, but I think it's not enough people are really familiar with it. Not enough people are using it as the overall theme for for what we're doing in countywide. But I think they're going to stick with it. I've been writing some articles in the Hometowner using that as an entry theme, trying to get it into our heads. I don't know if it's working, but that is still, then that's Como's suggestion, and that's what's being used. I did distribute at the May event at the Children's Museum. I don't think I told you this. I think I was leading up to it because that was where the opening of the Dutchess County Tourism. We did on Eastern Dutchess. On Eastern Dutchess, we are working together, the historians. We put out this pamphlet. I don't think I showed it to you, right? I don't think I had it. I think I've talked about it. Cost us $5 for 200 copies, which I left at the Dutchess County Tourism, which was the way the distribution. But let me get back there. For your information, the pamphlet I just handed him was worked up by 4 of us, 5 of us really over here at Eastern Dutchess. Bill Riley of Pauling did the actual work of printing and doing the computer work. Also, down there is David Greenberg, I think I said the wrong way, Brockway, myself, Valerie LaRobadier from Dover, and Ralph Federley of Milliken. We're going to keep sticking together to do something under that format of Eastern Dutchess. But right now, Valerie and I did attend the Children's Museum event. That's where there was an award for history, kids who wrote essays. We had a winner. So that one will cost us $5, and if we run out of money in my budget, I'll pay for it. Also, I will. I also had this done. This is the Wassaic, which is in color. Color was a little too costly for me to at that time. So I've had this redone. I've redistributed this. This is one of the greatest pamphlets going on the Hamlet of Wassaic and its history. All right, so I brought that out to Dutchess County Tourism, as well as the one that we did here for the town, thanks to Mary. So I'm doing the best I can to get us, noticed, so to speak, and recognized, which we are. But Bill Tatum is really supportive of Eastern Dutchess and keeping us as a locale. So that's basically, yeah. Go ahead.
June 17th is the deadline for the Ramble this year. We proposed October 12th. That's Columbus Day weekend, a Saturday, for the historic tour of Wassaic. Are you up for giving the introduction as you did before?
Right.
Okay. 10 o'clock on the 12th?
That really, to me, falls under the Pasco history theme, but I don't know if that's the way it's going to be. It was mentioned at the meeting by the group that was, what else do we need to do to make this thing more alive in the county, so to speak. But it's only the first year, and we'll be going, Dutchess County Historian will be going on for a few years, right? And the celebration, of course, this year's 300 years of democracy. We've had celebrations for years and years. We started out with a centennial back in 1876. 1976 was a big bicentennial, and I was involved with that one with the historian here in the town. They're planning one now for this year. I don't know how much reception it's getting. Supposed to be county-wide on July, this was a July 4th event. I don't know if it's getting that much reception. July 4th is pretty busy in a lot of the towns anyway. But I also want to, and I forgot to do this the last time, Stanley. I want to thank Stanley and his guys, I don't know who painted the post, for installing the historic marker down there at Deep Hollow. And they did the painting of the post, which is not something that was, right? Right, so it stands out more than, I don't know if there's any other grants out there, you know. Oh, what did you have a chance?
On the Pomeroy?
Maybe not, right?
No, I haven't had a chance. No.
You want me to try? You want me to get involved? You got it all written up?
No. No, I was using
You know,
a
I don't-
historic designation that they did at the
I don't
state
know how
level.
receptive they would be to the same person sending in another year. I really don't know. Maybe
No.
it doesn't
They
matter.
told me I could submit it again, I just haven't done it.
Oh, well, if you want some help,
Yeah,
I think I have
I may
some
need
time.
some help on this, yeah.
But,
Too many things on my plate. Yes, okay.
All right, thank you.
Add one question, Arlene? Would you want to put together something like an 8.5 by 11, one of the fabulous collages that you do that pertains to the path through history, and we could run them as slides on Channel 22? We could scan them in.
Yeah, I could do something like that.
If you
Yeah,
wanna-
matter of fact, I had hoped to do it, and I haven't gotten to it because I did get real busy with a few things, and so I didn't. But yes, I can.
Yeah, if you do that, we'll scan them in, and then,
Yeah.
I'm sure Michael put them up for you.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, I know you would.
Yeah.
Right. All right, thank you.
I have one other thing on the committee, is the trail, the trains to trail. We did get the final design report, we got it the other day, from SP Cells, WSP Cells. So I'll give it to, Marty, you here to pick it up for David? All right, so there's one, we only have 2 copies, so we'll give you one, and then the board can take a look at the other one, and get back to us as soon as possible. So they want the, they want to get this done so we can get this thing in and get it in front of the DOT. We did have an issue with a bog turtle, but I think we got that straightened around. They're not on the property. So we discussed that at the meeting the other day. So hopefully we've got that worked out. There's no bats. There was some other species that there's something else that we were okay with too. I think the mussel, that's somewhere else.
Yeah.
We're okay with that. We're okay with the environmental issues so far at this point. They had their people on the property. They're still waiting for the letter, but they gave a verbal that we're okay.
Good.
Any other committee reports, board report? Oh, you got
A short one.
short one?
Short one, I promise. I just wanted to remind everyone that taxes to pay in the town clerks you can no longer do so. So if you have not paid your town and county tax, you now have to send it to 22 Market Street to the Commissioner of Finance. Next Tuesday, after our morning special meeting, Patty and I will be going to Poughkeepsie to meet with the Commissioner of Finance and settle up our taxes. I just want to let everybody know that the 3 classes that Patty and I attended this past week were very informative. They had some tweaks and changes that they had suggested, and I'm starting them this week, and I'm having Jen, the auditor, come in, and we're making some changes and creating some new forms to kind of meet those requirements. I have turned to the board. Brett Johnson, the dog control officer, had submitted his letter of resignation on 6/3. And today I had a conversation with Crawford and Associates. You want to hold that topic then?
Yeah, let's do that with the other, I guess you can do it tonight if you want to do it now. It's,
Because she has to do this in order to meet.
all right. This is to the constables?
Yes.
Right. I spoke to her this afternoon, Amy Haight from Crawford and Associates. As most of you know, the Four Brothers have proposed a new drive-in movie theater. Part of their approval process is they're going to have to ensure that traffic does not stop. The traffic issues that the planning board has issues with are taken care of. What they propose to do is to hire our constables. All right, I'll read the letter. There is currently a proposed drive-in in front of the planning board for review. As an aspect of the approval of the drive-in, Owners have agreed to hire the town constables and direct traffic and entering and exiting the movie theater. Although no traffic issues are foreseen, the constables are to ensure that no traffic issues arise as patrons are entering and exiting the movie theater property. The proposed theater is to be in the existing field northwest of the Four Brothers Restaurant. The theater is set to operate from Memorial Day through September. The hours will fluctuate with sunset will be from 8 p.m. Roughly 8 p.m. to around 1 a.m. The proposed theater is to show a double feature. I understand there's a proposed town board meeting tonight. If the board could discuss this issue and provide directions to the possibility and logistics of hiring the constables for this purpose, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you for this time. I'm looking forward to you. Amy Haight, Senior Engineer, Crawford Associates Engineering, PC, Warren Street, Hudson. I have no problem hiring the constables, as long as, I guess, do they bill them direct?
She can, and her and I had a brief conversation. It'd be just like the flood auction, the carnival, any of the other events that when they're hired to do traffic. I spoke with all 4 constables to first make sure that they were even available over the summer, and that they know that there are some weekends, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the hours are not set yet. It's going to be when there's high volume, so they're still at the tweaking. And we would write the resolution the exact same way we did flood auction and the carnival, where they pay them directly, and it's just they have to be authorized to do said duty. So it's.
And the constables were all interested in.
I was confirmed with 3.
They're your free movies?
Not your husband? The other 3?
Yeah. Some weekends he's available, Pat. So,
I'll make a motion that we allow the,
so we just have to do the resolution.
We have to do a resolution.
The next
right, but
meeting.
but we have to move forward to let them know, because they have a meeting on, Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So we have to,
indicator.
right,
Do you
so
want
we
me to
have.
have the resolution for Tuesday?
Nah, I'm not gonna be here Tuesday, so that's fine, but, I think what we need to do is have a vote to let them know that we're gonna do it, we're gonna allow it to happen.
Just make a motion that
Right,
we're gonna authorize it, and then.
correct.
Formal resolution for the
Right.
20.
I'll make that motion, we, authorize the, town councils to work directly with the Four Brothers Restaurant to facilitate the, direction of traffic for their theater, their drive-in theater.
I'll second that.
What if there's a conflict, with our schedule, and, I mean, if they're there every night from 8 p.m. till 1 a.m., and we need them for a certain function?
And it was a matter of getting the approval of the board that they were gonna go ahead and go with that, and then the particulars, I told her I'd call her tomorrow to make
Right.
sure that you guys were gonna go ahead and use this as an acceptable use of the constables. We know the carnival's coming up. We
Yeah.
know that there's some, events,
Right.
music events and such that take place. If you were to have 2 here and 2 there, I mean, there
Okay.
hasn't.
Yeah, if we can
We don't
work
seem
out
to have a high
logistics.
flux of that, needing the constables
Yeah.
just yet, and I'm sure that they'll be able to work it out.
I would assume at some point, if it takes off, that they're gonna have to redo that entrance anyway. I would assume that's what they're gonna have to do.
Something
So then
she had said
it's
to me
gonna
is that
be,
the exit on 343 is a one-way, but the signage isn't up yet. So
Right.
then she was thinking we would only need the 1 constable, but to start it off, an opening weekend, we would have the 2 constables because it's,
I think it's 130 cars, right? Something like that?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, some will be going in and out. The thought was, well, 8 p.m. and then again 1. Well, there's going to be some cars that are going to leave
Right.
after the first show and new cars coming in. So to start it off, the suggestion was keep them there the whole time and let's see what they need and then discuss it with the constables.
Okay.
Safety is their first concern, and the constables did express, when speaking with them, that they would prefer to be in the pairs, just being a new event, not, they're not regulating alcohol or anything
Mhm.
of that sort. It's for the traffic control.
Okay, I made the motion.
So, Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
And can we have County Legislator
Yeah, we're gonna do Mike next.
Mike next?
Yeah, all right.
Arlene again, this is as a resident of Route 22, 1 mile from the center of town, and I don't know who else, right. I'm going to tell you, I've lived there on that location, which is just north of Freshtown, for the people who, for over 40 years. Well, the road was much more narrow when I got there in 1960s. It's gotten wider, which means it's taken, you know, as they do it, redo it. But the truck traffic is phenomenal. And I mean, I'm sure we all know that to an extent, but when you live on it, and my house happens to be pretty close to the road, probably one of the closest, that's just the way it was built, that's what, you know. I mean, we're talking mammoth-sized trucks going through. How in the dickens are they going to, and that's the only thing I would have in regards, concern in regards to this, drive-in. It's terrific. I don't know how.
But the planning board has dealt with that.
Yeah.
That's a planning board issue. We're not involved.
No, I know, but I
They've
just
done the
wanted-
traffic studies. They've done the traffic studies. They're saying they're okay.
I know that, Bill.
Okay.
I'm speaking here as a resident of the town of Amenia, and you brought up the subject on the, you know, so I'm just putting in 2 cents worth. It's a terrific amount of traffic, and you all guys are going to have to think about it too. I would think.
I promise we'll keep it moving.
So noted.
I promise we'll keep it moving.
She's going to call.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, sir, and
When they get backed up, call him. Don't call me.
Yeah, you sure are. Don't stop at
Mike?
all in front of
Okay,
us.
Mike, you're on.
Let's go. Next.
This won't be that long.
Thank you, Michael Kelsey, County Legislator. I'll try to make it quick. Just briefly, as a follow-up to Arlene's initial comments about history, as you know, 2013 is a heritage year in Dutchess County. We're celebrating the 300th anniversary of democracy, elected leadership. And one of the ideas to come out of this committee that we formed, you'll be hearing more about soon, is going to be developing a county passport system. And there'll be a little passport, a little booklet, just like the real ones, and you'll be able to get it from the county clerk. And it's to encourage people to go from town to town and visit each town and get a stamp from the town clerk. And the idea is to get people to promote tourism, and while they're there, the town can say, give a brochure, such as Arlene created, or encourage them, go visit this historic site, or visit this restaurant. They might give you a little discount and learn more about the county. So that's an idea that's coming down the road. You'll be hearing more about it soon. I want to talk about the Dutchess County Jail, and I want to talk about it in depth. But before I do, I'll debate you a little bit, I want to mention that right before this meeting, this is my 3rd meeting tonight, I got one more after this, but I was invited by the Millbrook School District. They had a meeting among parents that parents requested, and there's probably about 50 parents there. And there were also some parents and grandparents of Weebatuck students. And their concern was all about the state curriculum, and that the assessments that students are required to take have increased. The standards have accelerated, and it's coming down from Washington, D.C., but it's really more of a way to hold teachers to a higher accountability. But the results are really staggering, and the parents are reporting that the kids are having so much anxiety as they're preparing for these tests. They're not doing well on the tests, and there's physical manifestations, vomiting. They're reporting to the nursing, the school nurse, social workers. So it seems to be a really big problem, and I just want to pass it along because that's what I heard. And it's probably, if you have children or family members or neighbors with kids, it seems to be a big problem that probably needs more attention, to let your state legislators know, and also your Washington delegates, that it seems to be a problem that is out there that deserves more attention. So I want to talk a little bit about the Dutchess County Jail. We had a long meeting on Monday night, and it looks like your meeting will probably be as long. So what we did is we took a first step towards solving the problem of housing out and jail overcrowding. As you know, this problem has been in Dutchess County for several decades, and currently our jail holds 257 inmates. We have an additional 200 inmates that are housed out in other county jails: Albany, Rensselaer, Ulster, sometimes as far as St. Lawrence. And this problem that we've been doing, this has been our policy for several decades, of housing out inmates, is not good for them, and it's also not good for the taxpayer. And so what we did on Monday night is we passed a bond request. It's a $1.2 million bond to have a study that will give us all the information, detailed information that we need to take the next step in allowing our inmates to come home. And what that means is in the next 6 months or so, a consultant firm will develop maps They'll develop the criteria and the specifications among our criminal justice system that will give us, as legislators, the concrete plans to do one of two things. One, either build a brand new jail, and it's slated for the Hudson River Psychiatric Grounds in Poughkeepsie. Second plan, expand the existing facility in North Hamilton Street in the city of Poughkeepsie. And they'll give us all the maps, the blueprints, all the details, as well as the price on what this will cost. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. So what we did on Monday was basically define the planning stage for a construction project. Now, $1.2 million is a lot of money. The jail construction or expansion will be a lot more. So we want to take the time to study it as much as we can to make a good course of action. What do we do? We're under the impression that the state will, by taking this effort, what we did on Monday night, that they will take it as a good faith effort on our part, and therefore they will allow us to build temporary pods. These are going to be structures made out of concrete that we'll put down in Poughkeepsie that will allow all the inmates that are currently housed out in other counties to come back to Dutchess County. Now that is significant because right now if you're arrested and you're judged to be you belong in jail, you're housed out somewhere else. You're cut off from your family. You're cut off really from the Dutchess County legal system where you need to be tried. So right now you get housed out. Security officers, correction officers take you up to another jail, bring you back for arraignment, bring you back, go back and forth throughout your trial. The average length of stay for a person in Dutchess County Jail is 45 days. That's average. Some are longer, some are shorter. By having inmates housed locally, they'll be closer to their family. They'll be closer to services that we provide. We have a lot of positive services inmates housed out do not currently get. And just as importantly, they'll also have the ability to have closer access to attorneys and the courts and hopefully go through the process sooner. That will lower that length of stay and ultimately lower the population. These are factors we're going to be determining, saying what kind of construction project do we build. If our population goes down, we don't need to build as many beds. So what we did on Monday is a good faith effort that the state will allow us to do to construct these pods. If we construct these pods, our cost will go down. Right now, we're spending about $8 million a year of taxpayers' money to house out these inmates. $6.5 million of that goes to other facilities to store as rent to store our inmates, and the rest of it goes for the transportation costs, the gasoline costs. We bring these inmates home. It's good for them. It's good for this judicial system. It's also good for the taxpayer. There'll be about a $2.2 million savings a year by allowing them to be local. So you save $2.2 million plus just under $6 million that are currently going to other counties building their jails will be spent locally. It'll be spent on more correction officers, more social workers, more mental hygiene workers, and that will basically create jobs locally. So our plan and what we did on Monday is to develop a plan that we will then consider down the road, maybe as soon as December. My guess is probably January or February. We'll have two plans, build a new jail or expand a jail. We'll also have that information of the idea of how many, what do we do, what's the better plan for us to do. And meanwhile, it'll probably take 5-6 years to build whatever construction project. In those 5 and 6 years, all our inmates will be local. So it seems like a good plan. It's going to be an expensive plan. If whatever construction project will have a high cost, but it's been a problem we've been having for several decades that has not been dealt with, and right now we're spending more than the bond debt will be on housing out, and it doesn't have good results. So that's what took place on Monday, and going forward, I think we're on the right track, but it is, mind you, it's an expensive project to build and expand, but I think in the long run it will be worthwhile. The plan will also include not only new jail and expansion, it will include do we need transitional housing for somebody on their way out that we can help them in the community. It will also include do we need housing for special populations. There's currently 14 teenagers that are in the jail. Youth should be separate from the adult population. There's the female population, the mentally ill, and those on substance abuse have special concerns, and those will be addressed. So those are all things we're looking at. How do we serve not only the taxpayer, but how do we serve the person that's trapped in the criminal justice system? How do we give them the services to help them in their time in the jail, but also to prevent them from coming back, to help in whatever tools they might need. Now, with that, I just want to be clear that we have 257 can fit in the jail, 200 are currently housed out. There's also 600 people on a daily basis that are involved in the criminal justice system, but are judged, they don't need to belong in jail. So 600 people have an alternatives to incarceration program. It could be released on their own reconnaissance, could be electronic monitoring, could be a substance abuse program of some sort. So there's about 1,000 people that are in the criminal justice system every given day. The 60% of them we keep out of the jail. It's that other 40%. Half of those, if they're lucky, get to be locally in Poughkeepsie. The other half have to go somewhere else. So it's a problem that we're addressing, and I think we're on the right track, but it is going to have a cost and it will be expensive. So I did want to explain it so people know an idea of what's kind of going on there. And then we did other stuff with, but I won't bore you with it. I know you got a long meeting. So if there's any questions,
I was just at the rail trail head on Mechanic Street, and I've spoken in the past to the DPW people about this. We need 10 or 15 more feet of blacktop to make the parking work on the rail trail side of our parking lot. That's the part that I think is owned by you guys.
Right.
We own the back half of that parking lot. If we could just, I know that you're under all kinds of economic issues, but it really, if they could just pave that apron that was mistakenly not paved, so that you can pull a full car length onto, where you're supposed to be, you have to go off of it and onto the dirt, and it really should be fixed.
Good, I'll pass it along.
I appreciate that.
Right, sure.
Can I ask just a quick question, because Mike's here? People are still just riding those bicycles across Dunn Road, because that's the road I used to go out the other day, older woman, teenager, right across. So is there a possibility of building a volunteer effort that wouldn't be a liability to county or town, but volunteers on some of the weekends that could get out there or willing to get out there? And because they're not stopping, even though the stop signs are there. And I know that law enforcement has said legally they have to stop, but if they hit a car, it still, even if they drive into the side of your car, it still falls to the driver. It's just, I think, another hazard waiting to happen on Dunn Road and on County Street. So I just want to raise that because we did have the 2 accidents. It's been a while and sometimes out of sight, out of mind, but I've been noticing that people are still just riding the bikes across. It's not even getting off and dismounting. They're just not stopping.
I think it's really an education campaign is what's needed, because cyclists do have to stop at every crossing, and I don't think they realize that, or if they do, they look both ways, whatever, go. But it does create a risk for themselves, and motorists, heaven forbid, you're driving along and it happens to you that you hit somebody. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. Any other board members have anything else? Are we all set?
Is that on committee reports and that sort of thing?
You all set? Town clerk, you done?
Yes.
Okay. Discussions, Dutchess County SPCA. As you know, we've been working with the town of Dover to deal with the dogs. We have a proposed contract with the Dutchess County SPCA, which is a not-for-profit. They will house the dogs. This is a temporary message. Well, it's up to the board. If it's something you want to do, which we're under. I think we have until the 21st of this month to come up with something that we can do with where these dogs can go. We've picked up more dogs in the past 2 months than we've had in the past 2 years. So at this point, we need to have a place to put the dogs. I did meet with the town of Dover. I've not heard back from them. I did receive another call from the town of Northeast. They had the same problem that we have. So I will read this dog control housing agreement. This agreement made on blank day of June 13, 2013 by Dutchess County SPCA, not-for-profit corporation having an address of 636 Violet Avenue, Hyde Park, New York, 12538, hereafter referred to as the Dutchess County SPCA. In the town of Amenia Municipal Corporation, have an address of 4988 Route 22, town of Dover, town of Amenia, New York 12501, hereon referred to as a town. Whereas the town of Amenia Dog Control Officer is empowered to seize dogs pursuant to the provisions of 117 of the New York Agricultural Markets Law, state law, and whereas the agreement applies only to dogs seized in the town of Amenia dog control by the town of Amenia Dog Control Officer, and whereas pursuant to Agriculture and Markets Law number 117, dogs seized by a dog control officer required to be properly fed water during an applicable redemption period, and whereas the Dutchess County SPCA maintains a kennel for boarding dogs and other animals at its office located at 636 Violet Avenue, Hyde Park, New York 12538, and whereas the town wishes to contract with the Dutchess County SPCA to provide shelter for dogs seized by the town control officer upon terms and conditions hereafter set forth. And now therefore it is hereby agreed by and between Dutchess County SPCA and the town as follows. Resuscitation Incorporated, these, is that the right word?
Recitation.
Recitations above set forth are incorporated in this agreement as is fully set forth and recited herein. The term of agreements, the agreement shall become effective June 10th, 2013 and continue until December 31st, 2013. Boarding and veterinary care. Dutchess County SPCA hereby agrees to provide boarding and any veterinary care as required by Agricultural Markets Law for all dogs seized by the town of Amenia Control Officer as follows. All dogs seized by the town of Amenia Dog Control Officer shall be delivered to the offices of Dutchess County SPCA, 636 Violet Avenue, Hyde Park, New York, 12538. Each dog so delivered will be held for a minimum of 5 days before the adoption when identified as per applicable by state law. Dogs that are appropriately identified as outlined by state law will be held for a minimum of 7 days if notice of the seizure of such dog is personally given to the owner, or 9 days of notice of seizure is made by mail. All dogs will be evaluated by SPCA staff to determine if the dog's disposition and temperament will enable it to be adopted. If the dog is determined to be adoptable, it will be placed for adoption by the Dutchess County SPCA. Dutchess County SPCA reserves the right to handle the final disposition of dogs deemed to be unadoptable within the mission statement of the Dutchess County SPCA once the applicable redemption periods are set forth upon above have expired. The town will pay Dutchess County SPCA for each dog as follows. For dogs identified, whether reclaimed or not, within 9 days at a rate of $40 per day. For up to a maximum of 9 days, this fee shall be included all boarding. For unidentified dogs, within 5 days, the redemption period shall apply for a rate of $40 per day. For a maximum of 5 days, the fee shall include all boarding. For dogs that have been seized as a result of being determined to be dangerous, dog by order of a court of competent jurisdiction, there will be a fee of $125 in addition to any and all daily boarding fees payable by the town upon disposition of the dangerous dog action. Reclaim and redemption of dogs. Dutchess County SPCA shall process reclaims redemption of dogs at its office and at the following hours. Each weekday from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on weekdays from 11:30 a.m. until 4 o'clock p.m. The town also processes reclaims redemption of dogs on weekdays from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. The town will process reclaims redemption dogs as follows. Upon payment of dog owner of the minimum redemption fees as set forth in 117 state law, the town will issue a copy of the Agriculture and Markets Department Form DL-18 to the dog owner or designee, which will evidence that the town has received all reclaim and redemption fees. The owner will pay any and all fees due to the Dutchess County SPCA as follows. Rabies shot, $25. Intact dog surcharge, $10 flat fee. All fees due to the Dutchess County SPCA must be paid at time of reclaim redemption of the dog and presentation of Form DL-18. Redemption fees collected by Dutchess County SPCA shall be remitted to the town. Kennel space at all times Dutchess County SPCA will provide kennel space for all dogs that are seized. The dog control officer will have access to Dutchess County SPCA kennels for the delivery of dogs at all times. Transportation in the event of a dog requires veterinary care, Dutchess County SPCA will provide and arrange for any necessary care. The town will be charged for veterinary fees as incurred by the Dutchess County SPCA. Indemnification. The Dutchess County SPCA will defend, indemnify, and hold the town, its officials, officers, and employees harmless from and against all actions, proceedings, claims, damages, liabilities, losses, and expenses, including without limitation reasonable attorney's fees arising out of the wrongful actions of the Dutchess County SPCA. The town shall defend and indemnify and hold the Dutchess County SPCA, its officials and officers and employees harmless from and against all actions, proceedings, claims, damages, liabilities, losses, and expenses, including without limitation reasonable attorney's fees arising out of the wrongful acts or omissions of the town. Applicable law. The agreement shall be governed by, construed by, and enforced in accordance with the laws of New York State with regard to conflicts of laws and principles of law. Waiver. No waiver of any breach or any condition of this agreement shall be binding unless in writing and signed by the party waiving such breach. No such waiver shall in any way affect any other term or conditions of this agreement or constitute a cause or excuse for repetition of such and any other breach unless the waiver shall specifically include the same. Modification. This agreement constitutes a complete understanding of the parties. No modification of any provisions thereof shall be valid unless in writing and signed by both parties. Notice is all notice demands, request, consents, approvals, or other communication for the purpose of this paragraph collectively called notices should required or permitted to be given hereunder to any party of this agreement shall be in writing and shall be sent overnight delivery service or registered certified mail, return receipt requested, postage prepaid to the respective addresses of such parties as set forth. Successors and assigns. The agreement shall apply to and bind the successors and heirs, administrators, ex-executor of the parties hereto. Entire agreement. The written agreement, when signed by all parties, forms the entire agreement between the parties and replaces and supersedes all prior agreements or undertakings between the parties, if any. Binding effect. The agreement shall be binding on the heirs, executors, administrators, successors, and assigns of the parties hereto. Authorization. The agreement was authorized by the resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Amenia, duly adopted at the regular meeting of the Town Board held on the 13th day of June 2013. Terms, the contract can be canceled any time from either party with a 60-day notice with a 60 days written notice. Payment. All bills submitted to the town will be paid within 60 days. If no payment is made to the SPCA within 60 days, the SPCA reserves the right to charge a $50 per month surcharge. In witness thereof, the parties have executed this agreement in two counterparts, each which shall constitute an original the day and year above, first above written. Contract. Resolution number 39 of 2013. Resolution authorizing contract with Dutchess County SPCA at a meeting of the Town Board, Town of Amenia, held at the Amenia Town Hall on the 13th day of June 13th, 7 p.m. Supervisor Flood, seconded by Councilwoman
I'll second that.
Vicky Doyle. Move to the following resolution to wit, whereas pursuant to 114 of the New York Agricultural Markets Law, the Town of Amenia is required to establish and maintain a pound for shelter for dogs. And whereas 114 of the Ag and Markets Law further authorizes the town to contact with any incorporated humane society or similar incorporated dog protective association for the provision of a pound or shelter for dogs. And whereas the town is currently in need of a pound for shelter of dogs. And whereas the Dutchess County SPCA is a New York non-for-profit corporation which can provide a pound or shelter for the dogs to the town in compliance with the number 114 of the Ag and Markets Law, and whereas the Town Board now wishes to contract with Dutchess County SPA for the provision of a pound or shelter for dogs, and whereas entering into a contract with the Dutchess County SPCA for the provision of a pound or shelter for dogs is a Type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Act, and therefore is not subject to environmental review, and Now therefore it be resolved that the town board hereby approves the terms of and authorizes the entering into the contract of the form attached hereto between the town and Dutchess County SPCA. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to sign the contract on behalf of the town, to sign any additional documents that may be necessary to effectuate the contract of the Dutchess County SPCA, and to take such administrative and ministerial action as may be necessary to effectuate the terms of the contract. The following resolution was voted upon by all councilmen and councilwomen, voting as follows.
Discussion?
Sure.
According to the agreement, there has to be an Amenia dog control officer. I have a resignation in my hand. Do we have a dog control officer?
I've talked to Brett. If we have a place to put the dogs, he will take his job back.
Okay, so then we're voting not to accept his resignation?
Correct.
Well, then I think we need to do that before we vote on the contract.
We can do both at the same time.
No, we can do one first, because his contract is based on us having a dog control officer.
I'll make the motion.
Well, the contract won't be in effect
Unless we have a dog.
until we have a dog control officer, but I understand we need to have a place to put our dogs by, what was the deadline?
21st.
We need to
So-
have a dog control officer also by the 21st.
Right, but if you get this in place, then Brett or any other employment person who is qualified could then, we can get on with hiring them. It sounds like Brett or anybody needs to know that there's a place to put the dogs before they are hired, so it's a catch-22. I wouldn't think that this doesn't come into effect until we have a dog control officer. We can't utilize that facility until we do. But we can't utilize that, we can't hire somebody until we have this in place.
Well, this
I would
is
think.
Authorizing a contract with Dutchess County SPCA, and the contract, I mean, the first line of the contract says, whereas the town of Amenia dog control
Unless he's told you
officer.
different. Has he told you different, that he's not going to accept this job?
I'm going by a resignation letter I have in my hand.
Correct.
And which we have not.
I
Here it
went,
says
Right.
the town board
I went
Oh.
down and I spoke to Brett about this.
Correct.
And what Brett says was that, because at that point, we still haven't accepted the letter of resignation. We've been served with the letter of resignation. So at that point, he said that as long as we get a place to put these dogs when they come in, for whatever reason it is that they're coming in, that he would come and do the animal control officer position for Amenia. I also had a chance to look at how he handled incoming dogs, and I was really comfortable with the way he was bringing in a dog, and it was, I think he's really good at handling the animals. But as long as we have a place for these dogs to go, and understanding that this is not a long-term solution, this is an interim solution.
I know,
until
but
we get our
have to do
own-
something with the resignation letter. We can either vote to accept it or vote to not accept it.
Well,
I'll
I-
make a
We have
motion, we
to
vote
do
that we
one or
not,
the
that
other.
we do not accept the letter of resignation.
I'll second that.
I also make a motion, we authorize the town supervisor to sign.
We can only
this
do one at a
One at a
time.
time.
We
Fine.
need to do one.
Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Crody?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Flood. This motion
I also make a motion that we, you want to do a roll call on this resolution? Is that what you want to do?
We had discussion.
Right,
So we're going to return back to resolution number 39.
right,
Supervisor Flood?
yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Crody?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Okay, discussions of AR C38, request for special gathering permit weekend of June 21st and 22nd of 2013. You have a bunch of stuff, information here. Is there someone that's going to represent the group? You?
Sure.
Okay.
Can you state your name?
Yeah, I'm Devin Irby. Most people here know me as Devin Kyle, local newspaper reporter, and other folks know me as Echo.
So Devin Kyle.
Irby, I-R-B-Y. Yeah.
What paper?
I've written for 3 local newspapers. So, hi.
How are you?
It's raining in a lot of ways. But there's a lot to look forward to. The crops are getting watered. We're here because this beautiful town means so much to us. We're here to open the conversation with this respected board and the greater community. Everybody who's here is here because we care about this place and we want to see it improve. And specifically, we're here to open the conversation about our operation on Old Route 22 and bringing it into a successful resource for this region and an exemplar of community solutions. Several of us came here before this board a year ago, and we've made a lot of progress, even with a lot of fiscal and historical obstacles in that time. And now we're excited to present 2 things. One, that we have a group that is finally converged and is dedicated to a long-term vision that's compatible with a lot of constraints, and we're becoming more and more aware of what those are. So the 2 things I'd like to accomplish is to address some concerns that have come forward, and secondly, to announce our solution, which was actually before any of this came to mind. If this were a time machine, I would take us all back 2 months, and I would say, we see that there is a 45-day limit before you want to have a gathering. And we would have said, we'd like to have a gathering. We didn't realize this. It's been made it's been brought to our attention. For everybody else who may not realize, a mass gathering is usually something over 350 people. We are proposing a small fundraising event, 50 to 100 people, with farm training, with holistic workshops, and considering it's something that would be open to the local public as well. There's a few pieces to this puzzle. First of all, it's been a long road to hoe. We've had, I want to acknowledge for myself and on behalf of everyone in our community, we know that some people have had unfortunate impressions of us and unfavorable impressions. I and we are very sorry for this. Some of these things were avoidable, some of them were difficult to avoid. I apologize to everyone in this room for any bad impression you may have had of myself or anybody else who's been drawn to work on this project. Any of our neighbors, and we haven't had this opportunity, so please allow me just a few extra minutes before I introduce someone else to speak more to the logistics of this particular proposal. So any of our neighbors who are interested in farming, we have rows available, and we'd love to discuss making that available to anyone who doesn't have their own farmland. We have lots of young, motivated people who are seeking guidance, and we have workshops, but we'd love to reach out and have people come and share what they know, and that has been happening naturally and organically. More and more people feel free to stop in and wave and say, who are you guys anyway? And we heard this and we heard that, and more people having personal connections has been such a blessing. And those connections mean a lot to us. Any of our neighbors with additional questions of us that we won't have a chance to address in tonight's gathering, we welcome your insights and your suggestions. We are sincerely interested in winning your favor and being part of a greater community. Every entity is part of something larger, as well as, a subset, as well as a container of many things. Any of our neighbors who might need any help, we have a number of professional freelance people who have voluntarily shoveled driveways, but who are also available for hire. Video, website design, landscaping, maintenance, these things have happened naturally and organically, but because of this venue and this opportunity, I want to extend that as something, another way to look at us, as a job bank, as a resource of a lot of very skilled, well-meaning, and amazing people. So this recent proposal of how to overcome a large number of old things that were left from the original Luther estate, farm equipment that has been brought to the land, trying to organize, trying to remove things that don't belong there. It's not a junkyard. Nobody wants it to be a junkyard. We want to be a real farm and an operational farm. We had lots of wonderful kale last year. And we've expanded the operation quite a bit. And you can see for yourself, instead of the falling down barn, as it used to be called, there's a greenhouse there. We had 3 building permits to maintain that barn. There's a big opportunity here. One is to see us as a problem, forget about it, neglect, just go away. And the other one is to take this as a gesture of good faith and to try to extend this conversation. Now, we're all open to seeing what form that's going to take. We've been in touch this week with the health department and created a timetable to address all of their concerns. We've been in touch with the town of Amenia planning and enforcement, and have also created a timetable to address the code violations which have been brought to us. So there's I kind of wanted to speak just a little bit to the progress. It's a little hard to see when you drive by a place that's got a mix of people and energy, and some folks are only there for a day, and there's been so much progress made. I don't know how many, Arlene, I know some people have driven by there many, many years and seen what the condition was like when the Luthers left it. The landowner, William Henry, shared with me a story which I think is of relevance to both the historical, I guess the legislator left, but to what all of us are doing as participating in history. And there have been barns, as Victoria Perotti mentioned when we met earlier this week, that were razed, burned, not razed as a community gesture or preserved. And when Bill Henry was offered this property, Dave Luther said, well, I could just take, anybody with Caterpillar stock? Okay. I could just take this Caterpillar and wipe out this barn, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. And Bill said, no, I'd like to fix it. That's the kind of attitude that the people who've been drawn to and participate are centered on, is let's go into difficult situations and make them better. I see I have a couple other notes I'd like to address before I open things up a little bit. Okay. There was safety concerns and some things I could speak to briefly. Maybe it's not the right moment, but I've been in touch with John Fenton, and there were a few things that some people may not have been aware of. So basically, that we've been hardwired with a smoke detection system for some time. There are fire extinguishers on site, and we've also addressed our biggest expense last year was a porta potty. We're about to get another one, and dealing with all other considerations with respect to our right to farm and everyone's right to be in a beautiful space and not threatened by who are those people down the road, but actually welcomed into a safe space. And that's what we're committed to building. And so the reason we're here at this moment is because someone caught wind that there was going to be this maybe 50, maybe more, maybe thousands, but nowhere near thousands, small event around the notion of let's build, let's make work fun, basically. It's farm training, it's how to engage with nature and with each other in a deeper way. So we've been informed when we spoke earlier this week that we will need to make available all available camping sites that are within the region, that are authorized legitimate camping sites, including Macedonia Brook State Park, and that is the most likely location where there will be a few permits for the entire large field up top. The proposal as it stands is that we would like to ask the board if they would consider granting a provisional blessing for us to try to move forward with this fundraiser event, to try to give us a chance to make a good show, to show that we can clean up our act, that we are very committed to doing that we can pool the resources to move forward. So I'd like to introduce a member of the team that has been drawn to work with us here, who've tried to bring this proposal to our attention and try to create a solution-based, opportunity with very, increasing resources and a real gem of a person.
Can I just ask you a couple questions?
Sure, sure.
This fundraiser is to raise funds to do what? To fix the building? To do?
Address the primary needs of the community, which at the moment are, yes, address any structural, electrical, and other sanitary and other needs that are facing us, and ideally, more seeds, more farming equipment. We have a large wish list.
What's that?
We have a large wish list.
Correct. And you were here a year ago to do some of the similar things with the building, but you haven't gotten a lot done. Have you gotten a lot done in the building?
Yeah, I would say so. John Fenton has noticed a few changes since then, at least just things that were, entranceway and clutter, and there were things that had been there for literally 15, 20 years that have been removed or sorted or, consolidated.
But the building is still considered unsafe because he posted it on June 6th. Per the town code, it's unsafe or dangerous. So you may have made some improvements, but you haven't improved enough of the structural integrity of the building for it to pass town code.
How much do you think it would cost to get this building to where it's acceptable to the code?
Well, we've been advised to work with a civil engineer who can advise us about the 2 or 3 things that John Fenton noted. I've been told it's half a day's work and less than $1,000. I've been trying to raise money to that.
I think you're very optimistic. It could never
I am,
happen.
but I'm also realistic. Sorry, go ahead.
It could never happen in that time. And we have zoning laws in place. Every one of us has to comply with it, or we would get a notice like this. You've done nothing there. I mean, it really, in the time that you've been there, it seems like it's just gotten further in decay. Your sanitary conditions, Department of Health, all of those things, the building, the unsafe building. If you don't comply with the laws that we have set up, you can't operate. And to have a gathering, and now you talk about 50 people. Earlier, you were discussing having 300 people or 350.
No, that
doesn't matter
that was
the number.
the law around a mass gathering would usually apply only to events that had 350 or more. And so normally we wouldn't even need to ask for one, but we've been asked to, so we're trying to, show.
It just can't happen. I just can't see. I mean, I'm an architect. I know the rules and the regulations that you have to go through, and you're not even a 16th of the way there, and you want to have something in June 22nd or whenever. I mean, it's physically impossible.
We're not the barn in question. Any of the barns are not a planned part of the event. They're known to be unsafe.
It doesn't matter.
And will not be.
You're a group. You're always in there. You're always communicating between across the road and in the barns. It's an unsafe condition, and we just can't allow that. It's just becomes our liability if we don't act upon it. You have to be in compliance before you can go forward, and you're not in compliance. I mean, this is posted. We would all get these if we had a situation like yours. And that's a fact.
I'd like to address something, but I guess both what you're saying, but also what Ms. Perotti said, that we haven't done anything. And I'd like to, for those who have come in, you've seen that we actually teach one another. We bring in amazing people just on the train. Sometimes they're only there for a few hours, but we've had seminars on water catchment systems, on cosmology and the belief systems of the Native American Lenape and Wappinger people who lived on this land before us. We've had workshops on primitive skills. Would any of you know how to live without electricity if the power went out, or if all the gasoline trucks ran out? So there's several people who are resources who could show others who don't know.
The question isn't about the educational
what you're doing
programs that you've provided to people. That isn't the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter is the safety and sanitary codes that need to be followed in order for you to do it in a safe environment. And your
Absolutely.
environment is not safe. I mean, the building, from what I understand, you've been using extension cords all over the place. There's no toilet facilities, there's no heating facilities. The floor timbers are supported by temporary lolly columns. I mean, it's a danger to yourself just to be using that building. And I know there's at least 5 violations by the Department of Health for violating the sanitary code, no running water, no waste facilities. And you recently put in a well without proper permits or certifications, and you're getting rid of your human waste in a composting hole, and you have 55-gallon drums that have human waste that you haven't properly disposed of.
Thanks for the laundry list. We have actually made a timetable to deal with every single one of those issues that you've listed.
But where is the timetable?
It's an agreement with John Fenton, who actually has not given us that exact list you just mentioned. But we are aware of them, and at least 3 of them are already done.
You have the order to remedy. With
Have you
all
seen any of
these
this
things.
stuff?
That one, no. The one I saw only mentioned vaguely structural issues, which I was informed that a live and dead load test of the barn by a
That's
structural engineer
because
would satisfy the structural issues.
The
And-
notice of violation in order to remedy goes to the owner of the property. You need to be talking to the owner of the property if you are to be aware of everything that you are required to do in order to make the place safe and sanitary for your use.
And that's why we've taken the steps over this past week to become informed of. I mean, I'm more
Well,
familiar with web code.
we're here for the group, for the party or whatever you're gonna have.
Right.
Not for the building department. The building department, that's what they're dealing with, is the building and zoning.
And yeah, and we are in touch with both John Fenton and.
So have you seen this letter that, obviously an attorney wrote this, Fenton didn't write this, so, I don't know what attorney wrote this, but do you have a copy of this?
I believe it's not been delivered. It may have been certified delivered, but not signed for, or something like that. We were expecting it on Monday afternoon and haven't seen it yet. And it was only this week, in relation to this event, that these things were detailed for us. So that's why we're asking for some lenience and also a chance for a path forward on what those steps are.
What's the letter say?
It's dated June 10th.
Well, it's a list of,
And it goes to the owner of the property. They are not the owners of the property.
well, he's here. What's that? It doesn't, obviously they've missed the deadline, there's no question.
what?
For a,
Official permit.
for an official permit.
We're gathering that they don't really need a permit for.
They don't need a permit for?
He said 350 people, and it's not going to be 350 people, 150. I'm having a party on July 4th, I'll have about 35 or 40 people there. Do I need a permit for that at my pond?
You don't have that many friends, but yeah.
I said people, not friends.
Oh, be careful.
You be careful.
You be careful. Be careful.
Why do I need a permit to gather 30 or 40?
His is open to the public. He's inviting people up to his gathering.
Mine's open to the public. You
He
can go
has existing site violations.
I have a question.
It's a different property. It's on a different property.
Hold on.
Does he need a permit for this gathering? Legally?
Different issue. That's a legal question.
Then file against him.
The, who?
No, on the gathering.
Us to file against the gathering?
Yeah, I suggest they just go ahead with it, and you try to stop it.
Oh,
Well, I don't think that's what they're here for. I think they're here to try to work out something that they can work.
With you people? You're the most prejudiced bunch of people I've ever heard.
All right, Pat.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Let's get this thing
Yeah,
going.
right.
Is there a place you can hold this other than there?
Not in my place.
Thank you for that. Anyone interested in hosting anyone who may be like a difficult situation, please contact us, arc38.org. My phone number is available. You can stop on by, meet some people, say hello, offer a shower or a bed or something like that for once or not twice would be really wonderful. And in the meantime, we've been told that Macedonia Brook State Park would be one possible avenue. Ms. Nina
Because
Peak.
there's no camping allowed at your site.
Correct, yeah, which is a town, which is for any public mass gathering, I was noted. There's apparently, I'm from Colorado, camping is a religion. But here it's, sleeping outdoors is somehow not allowed, so we've been told that the only way to be able to go forward would be able to have the overnight
My
portion.
question is, how do they allow the Wasatch project? They camp there all weekend.
Exactly.
Right? How do
You're
they?
being prejudiced.
Well aware. Every day.
They have a mass gathering permit.
Do they have a permit,
They
right?
do,
They have a
yes.
permit.
Yes.
Trying to avoid that, thanks.
All right, but you have some neighbors here that are upset.
Yeah, I hear that.
So
They may have a right.
they have a
That's
right.
not the
They have a right to
I'm
issue.
one of your neighbors, and, you know, I worked with the Carbon Farming Course and Joel Salter and people, so I know what you're talking about the sustainable and all of that. And I admire that. But that, you know, to leave a tarp and a tent and chairs up in the woods all winter, this land that you love, and just to leave it up there, blowing in the wind, tarps in the trees, the fact that you're up there with no facilities, is that really what it's truly all about? Because, you know, if it's about educating and about building a center, you have to do the whole package. You don't do pieces of it. And as a neighbor, I see pieces happening. So either get the building right and mean it, and don't be using the land that I share with you the way that you're using it, because I don't like it. I drink that water. That supplies my well. So you don't have adequate sanitary facilities.
Thank you so much for that.
Anybody else from the neighbors want to? Yep.
I'm also a neighbor, and I have actually tarps and deteriorated blue tarps on my property that haven't been used in quite some time, but they were just left there, and it's on my property, and I have constant traffic. The NYSEG right-of-way has been adopted as the general access to the woods behind my property, and the NYSEG doesn't seem to be concerned about it as long as it's not blocked as an access, but I don't know that it should be used as a permanent roadway for access to the property that Mr. Henry owns. Unless there's some other way for them to get back there without using the NYSEG right of way, which encroaches onto my property parcel.
Also, another issue is that's pristine ridge and forest land. Now, I know some of these people, I've known Devin for quite a while, I know John, but my concern there, again, with things not being done properly, they don't have qualified people that I can see that have come in, and I've availed myself. I was talking to a former alumnus that I know from when we did our AmeriCorps service with the Student Conservation Association, who works over at DEC. There are vernal pools up there. There's also rare and endangered species of plants and animal life.
Sure, there's bog turtles.
Well, I don't know that there's bog, but there's land
You're not a
turtles.
neighbor and you're being.
And I've got the information.
All right.
Thank you.
And I had spoken to Laura Hetty at DEC because she heads up that section, and encroaching, going in there, being destructive. Once you disturb that habitat, you can never restore it to the way that it is. There are newts, salamanders, and other life forms up there that, if they're too intrusive, will lose, they'll never come back. And again, they're on the rare and endangered species list. I have the maps and the other materials to back that up.
Sure you do.
Shared with me today.
I guess my question is to the group: do you think that you can make enough money to fix this building and make it compliant?
Can we get a yes on 3? 1, 2, 3. Yes.
In 2 weeks?
Sorry for. I just want. Go ahead.
I have one question, that is, why isn't the owner of the property here?
He is.
He is here.
Oh, we haven't heard
doesn't want to talk. Because you people are so negative.
Here, I'm getting out of here.
Good night. Enjoy the air.
Fixing the barn has nothing to do with the gathering.
If I could just speak to the
Pat,
issue
if
that you
you're
just
going to
raised.
attack everybody in the audience, you're going to have to leave.
All right,
I'm
let's
not
not,
going
let's,
to attack the audience, I'm going to attack you people when I get up
Well,
to
I
talk.
don't,
I'm not-
let's
well,
not- let's not-
you're, but
When
you're
I get a
checked.
sergeant at arms to put me out.
If I have
right.
to, I will.
yeah,
Constable.
let's not get into this tonight.
Don't shout at people.
Let's have this discussion. Bill, do you want to say something? No? Okay, so Echo, you're going to run this whole thing?
I would like to pass off at least the event questions and logistics to Charmaine, but I'm willing to address any other issues. And I wanted just to speak especially to Jeannie's notion, which I really, really respect, that we're looking to try to create that whole package.
But how do you monitor? And you have people all over the mountain, and you don't know if they're taking stuff out, or, you know, do you have facilities? They're right, if you have 50 or 100 people and you have a party at your house, but you don't have facilities right now.
Well, we have some facilities available for programming.
Was she correct in saying that you have human waste in buckets and drums? Is she correct?
The violations, which and do include that, are on the other side of the road. The entire event is supposed to be taking place only on the first couple platform spaces where there's enough room to gather. Yoga, there's kind of a couple flat spaces. We're actually expecting the health department to come and inspect the camp. I would really welcome any feedback or ideas you have about how to control that and how to really create a plan that works over time. We so far have always been aware of anyone on the mountain. We've always had our own internal security system, and it's only when we have felt unsafe that we've reached out to call upon law enforcement.
What about the recent fire that just happened up in Northeast? Were you aware of that? People were camping on the mountain up there.
We were only just made aware of that in reference to the people's concerns about this, yeah. Yeah, and we've always had more than adequate water and fire protection at any campfires. We have always maintained the highest respect for animal and plant life. There's a meditation and an orientation that everyone receives before stepping foot up there. I am someone who is I go by the name Echo because I really am part of the environment. I am part of nature, and that is extremely important to me. So I've tried, the protection and stewardship of the mountain is crucial.
You might know it pretty well if you were a scout, but I thought you better believe, and that's Girl Scouts too. Right, Lane?
Well, my question,
You're really
the
trained
concerns that the neighbors have, can that be fixed in the next 48 hours?
Well, I would like to maybe meet with somebody on Monday to discuss the progress. I still haven't received that letter, but all of the violations are on the other side of the road. And yes, I believe we can.
Violations are on the barn side, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so the house side you're okay? That's where you're going to have the gathering?
Correct. And we'd love to be able to say yes, we can. I need to see how much the engineer's cost is going to cost, whether we're going to need some fortification or not, whether the lolly columns actually do hold so many thousand pounds per square inch. We've been looking into all of this stuff, of course. The half a day's work was only in reference to the lolly columns and putting in full beams. The electrical work's already been taken care of long before it was even put in.
Do you have a fire alarm system in that building? No?
Yeah, smoke detection is hardwired into all 3 barns and has been, and there's also there's a battery backup on the hardwired system, and there's fire extinguishers available in each space.
But no bathroom yet?
There is a toilet.
A toilet.
A toilet. The health department needs, we're going through a process of approving retroactively, getting a permit to approve an agricultural well, which will have additional uses. And for that purpose, we have submitted and are in the process of trying to be approved for the well that would then officially flush the toilet, which does officially go into a septic holding tank, no leakage. We're extremely thoughtful and concerned about the environment.
You have that now, the septic tank?
Yeah, it's a holding tank. It was in however long ago, and it was replaced an old, and the toilet goes right into it. Yeah, and it replaced an old dairy holding tank or something.
I just wanted to clarify where exactly these areas are where these gatherings take place. Because right now, there's a constant flow of people up the Nice Tank right away, under the power line, where there's some structures that have been built, like I would say, equivalent to an Indian log house, made out of trees and pallets for a floor, things like that. And there are obviously no toilet facilities or anything there. And the right-of-way obviously is part of my property and NICEAG's property, but that is where I see most of the traffic and hear most of the voices at night, the lights and things going on behind my property. Is that where the gathering is?
It's really good to meet you, by the way. Thank you, and I hope we can.
I've met several of you.
Oh, good.
In your travels, but I've never understood the location of where this gathering is to be, because the biggest concentration that I see is actually on the NICEAG right-of-way.
Well, I'd be happy to walk it with you, and we could even discuss alternative locations.
Unfortunately, I've had MS for 30 years, and I can't walk up there anymore, so.
I'm sorry to hear that.
My days of walking up there are over.
I'd be happy to go over a site plan with you and discuss possible options if we're given the kind of any kind of.
Just give a brief explanation of where this gathering is exactly.
So.
It's going to have to move their house. It's not going to be barns to be on the other side of the street.
We're not allowed to use any of the structures until we can lift the code violations. So at the moment, the two flat spots, one being closer to the road, one being just the first big flat region, which is set back a bit. It's before the power lines.
But it's up the NICEAG right-of-way between the right-of-way and the power lines.
I might need to go over with you exactly what those are.
Behind Neffen's house.
Right. Yeah.
To the south, to the north.
Perhaps I can't answer that question.
There's an alternative path that we've closed off, and we did not know that there would be any issue with our using the left-hand path. But there is a south.
The other hand on where it's a nice thing, right?
There's one right behind Bill Henry's house that previously we stopped using when Connie was there.
Bill Henry's house is the old Luther house, which is next to the different house.
Correct.
That's correct.
Clarify.
Yeah, we'd certainly be open.
Access back there beside the nice thing, right?
So that's where the event's going to be, is on the house side.
That's unless the miracle were to happen that we were able to lift all of the violations, in which case we would still prefer most of it to be up there, but we'd be able to do something, in the courtyard or some other space that's on that side, that's on the existing barn side. But currently, the event planners have been like, okay, we're willing to work with whatever constraints, find out what we can and can't do, and at the moment they're prepared to limit activity to that area.
So there's going to be tents.
Pavilions available for people.
For tents, correct?
For activity, for gatherings, and people.
But you're going to have porta potties. You're going to have potable water, and so on and so forth. There, that's.
Yeah, correct on all counts. Yeah.
What about parking and removing trash? You have plans for that?
We do. There's if you notice, those who've driven by, we've cleared quite a bit of space just at the base of the mountain. We're expecting that the 9x18 size for a parking lot, that we should get at least 12 to 15 cars in that spot. We're encouraging carpooling. We're encouraging train use. We're also looking at and working with any neighbors who might be able or willing to alleviate any overflow or concerns that people have, and we'd certainly be happy to reciprocate and barter.
And what is your plan for any trash from this event?
Pack in, pack out. This is about mindfulness, and for us that really means leave no trace.
Okay. So they're responsible for their own.
We'll provide things, but absolutely.
But you will have cans there for garbage.
Yeah, we're talking no cups, no styrofoam, no whatever. It's about personal self-reliability and reliance.
Did you submit an application for a discretionary permit? I guess that's what we're considering at this point. Is there an application in place? There are a lot of just background information that you have to submit for this discretionary permit. Do you have that with you tonight?
I haven't been made aware of exactly what was needed. We were told to come here tonight to as a show of good faith, to try to, I guess, ask for a discretionary permit. I didn't know there was paperwork, but we'd fill it out tomorrow.
Well, everything has to be in it, so we have nothing really to act upon, to give you a discretionary permit. None of the information is before us.
Right.
You say people are coming up by train or bus or whatever. Where are they coming from?
I think if I could allow Charmaine to speak for a moment to the event, because that seems to be the focus.
Let me just get to Brad. He's a neighbor.
My question was a pretty simple one. There's so many hurdles. This is a fundraising event, correct? If there are so many hurdles in order to come where you are, why don't you do, like a lot of people do, they might use the town hall for an event, or the BFW, or rent a hall somewhere and have a fundraiser.
Very good questions, and we are open to those suggestions. For this particular event, there's such a love of this particular land, and to see some of these big hurdles move forward more quickly, many hands make light work, and there's some really incredible folks that are willing to contribute.
Isn't there more, though, just beyond this one weekend thing, meeting these hurdles? If I understand what the planning board chairman has said, there's a lot of zoning issues. There's a wetland, there's cows grazing in the wetland. So there's issues that go beyond just fixing, having an engineer, and I think Darlene was alluding to this, and fixing this doesn't make it fit within the zoning either. So
Right, the
that's-
animals are close to the side yards, I mean, all that stuff.
We
and
would
the zoning
love,
issues.
we would love to resolve the cows with the wetland issue, absolutely. And we've actually been asking John Fenton and others to give us those specifics so that we can go to that individual and be able to make progress with
It's right
that.
in our code. It mentions section 91-5 of the town code, and talks about what you need to submit for a discretionary permit. It's a few paragraphs here.
When
Actually,
is
a
this
couple
proposed?
pages.
When is this?
It's proposed for the summer solstice.
21st and 22nd.
When?
21st and 22nd.
Of this month?
Yeah.
And I guess the other question is, if it's open to the public, you're guessing 50 to 100, but you don't know really what you're going to get. So how are you basing the facilities that you're going to need? I mean, having 2 porta potties there isn't going to do much. So where do those regulations come from you? How is that? And the other question is, and I think Rob said it, lights, noise all night, whooping, respect goes both ways.
The hours of operation, all that need to be, if you're being issued a permit, you need to submit information that can be acted upon. We're just, you're talking about getting everything done within.
But the question is, do they need a permit for 100 people? No, they don't.
Well, you have to have a scope.
If they're coming up by, he said, train, bus, who's inviting them? Where are they coming from?
It's in response.
Right, well, hold on.
Wait a minute.
Probably.
These concerns, because they do have to do with the event, and I'm thinking part of the team who is coming from the city to.
All right, well,
Can you come up?
Why don't you go up, introduce yourself.
I just want to say, go ahead and come up. I just want to say, wristband sort of situation where we're actually limiting the number of people and counting it, as well as RSVPs.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending to the concerns which you have, and also for being open to listening.
Could you state your name, please?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Charmaine Waldrop. I am from Brooklyn. I've come this summer with my fiance to Amenia to assist in the efforts to raise funds to improve the land. I visited last summer and I felt a deep connection with it, and that's why I'm back again this year. And as far as the event, I'd love to just run over the basic framework to state very clearly, I'm part of a new team who have come together around the event. We're about 4 individuals. We are planning this event ourselves. Primarily, it is for fundraising with expenses, and the intention is to bring city dollars as well as investors who would be attracted to invest in the land, assist us in the fiscal difficulties we have in order to remedy the code violations, bring the land up to code, the buildings, the structures. This event will also bring in those who will volunteer. We have a deep connection with our community in the city, and they all very much want to come out and assist with gardening, other projects. And essentially, we do believe we'll get a beautification team out of this, those who would join us in our efforts. And essentially, in the present, now, we have a timetable to address the concerns which are needed to improve the property. We are working with the town planners and the Board of Health. And the building that is in question will not be included in the event. So we are well aware of those concerns, and we are very, very happy to work with those who have the information for us in order to bring everything up to the standard, which is actually our standard as well. We recognize that these issues do exist, and we really do want to improve them.
You didn't answer my question.
I'm sorry, could you restate it, please?
How many people are coming? Where are you inviting them from?
Okay, so the event is going to be invitation only. We are inviting locals, but directly, phone calls, personal friends who are friends of us in the community. You're welcome to join if you would like to. We will be keeping track of those who are coming.
People from the city.
Yes, there's will be many people coming up on the train.
How many is many?
50 to 100 is the estimate.
It's on Facebook, so
Mhm.
is there a question about?
You have no control of how many people come.
When we were getting back to having something at your home and you have an invitation, but this is a public event. You put it on Facebook and you say anybody who wants to join us, and that's out there. You can't measure those numbers.
Everyone who is coming will be pre-registered. The people who are invited are all people through our network, so they're people that we all know. We are 4 people planning the event, and there, of course, are many people at the ARC who support us, and they have invited their friends.
But it's still out there as a public event. You've all seen it.
We've changed it to a private event.
Right, but you don't know that hasn't already, it's gotten out as it's a public event for this weekend.
That's fair.
You can't measure that.
In order for people to gain access to the event, they need to pre-register. We're making calls this week to get the people who are committed.
Show up, you're going to turn them away. I don't.
We don't have the capacity to host more than 50 to 100 people. So we are prepared to turn people away. People will only be admitted after they by calling in advance, signing a waiver upon arrival, and presenting their identification. So this will be pre-planned.
They took the train or something up here.
The next train back.
Well, the other question was that Nina raised.
$25 for general admission, $35
She said,
for Royal
Street,
and
is
then
that true? Because then it becomes a
additional
weekend event. Whether they have a day
is
event and
to
they have a
be determined.
fundraiser, that's, but.
I haven't seen Nita's remarks.
Well, the event has
And
been
then
advertised
following-
online as a 2-day event. It's the 21st and the 22nd.
Yes.
And the other issue is also the property is under foreclosure, from what we've seen online. And, so there's some concern about that as well, that should you make an effort to put money into the buildings and whatnot, you can't raise sufficient capital to do what needs to take place.
But maybe they can, and save it.
What is the relationship of the group involved with the mass gathering as far as the landowner, Mr. Henry? Is it still his full liability for anything that happens during this gathering? And what is your relationship to
No.
Mr. Henry? Do you lease from him?
We do lease from him.
You have a signed lease with Mr. Henry that you have access to the property and the mountain and all that?
We have an agreement, and we are leasing from him this summer. And just all these things are being negotiated, and I also think that these are not relevant to the event at this moment. So I really do wish to respect and honor all the questions. But I also wanted to get to your question, which you had. And I'm sorry, so sorry. Can you restate what you had, because I've gotten distracted.
I had several questions. One was the issue of foreclosure and what happens if you don't raise sufficient capital and you can't get the issues remedied in time. The other thing is, in case of something unforeseen happening, how do you cover it for insurance liability? Someone gets injured, anything like that. There has to be safeguards in place to provide for that.
Absolutely.
And it's the landowner's responsibility that if someone gets hurt or injured, he could be sued. Is there insurance to,
Insurance is being negotiated for the event. We are setting up a medical station with people who have had first aid training to be on site. And as far as the issue about people coming onto the land, which we had before, we are going to be keeping track of everyone. Have I answered all your questions?
I don't understand. How can you keep track of everyone?
Right.
If there's 100 or more people people and there's only 4 of you. I'm just asking this because, you know, you're bringing it forward, and if I don't ask it, somebody else will. I mean, I've known Devin and other people who've been there for a long time, and I just haven't seen a lot being accomplished, so that's why I'm addressing these issues, because I have concerns. And I've had other people ask me to address these issues with all of you.
Well, I appreciate you bringing them to us. It's very important for us to know these things, actually, because they do affect, these things are relevant to the event. Everyone coming onto the land will receive a bracelet, and we will have people on security, too. This is a fundraiser, so yes, we are charging people for the event, and the only people allowed onto the land will be those who have paid for their ticket.
All right. Tom, you had your question.
This is going to be an all-night deal, and it seems like you need to table this until some of these issues are...
Well, we're going to get there in a minute.
Okay.
Yep.
The other question, you're bringing in local bands. I mean, what hours are we going to be listening to as neighbors? Is Rob going to be listening to the local bands and music? And how many local bands?
We don't ask Wasatch Project those questions.
That's okay, Pat. I'm asking the question right now.
I believe the event organizers were, especially in light of potentially having to commute over to Macedonia Park, actually cutting off at 11 p.m. So
How many, and as a neighbor, I have a right to know, Pat, how many bands are coming? How many bands are coming, and what about, you know, how long is this going to start?
Okay.
10 in the morning and run till...
Woodstock?
No, it won't. We are a 4-person team, and we have a very specific person who has organized events in the city who is organizing the music show. So I can't tell you how many bands are coming because there's someone else on that.
Yes, sir.
Can I just say one thing?
All right. Come on. Shh.
I just want to put something on. I hear all your problems, but I'm not hearing the solutions. I mean, we want to work with you as much as possible. There's issues that you see. How can you help us so we can use this farm as a place for everybody?
My concern is that there's fire. It's going to burn down my house. It's going to kill my dogs.
All right.
I'm really worried because this has been so loosey-goosey to begin with. And now we're at a meeting to discuss how to do it the right way. But this is going on for a year or more, who knows? I live right there at the foot where they're operating. I hear them in the woods at night. We see the debris flying everywhere. It just happened in Millers. We don't say anything. We don't bother anybody.
Let this go on and watch,
And
and
I
now
stay
when
up
you
at
come
night
out
worried
and
about
bring
the
it
mountain
forward,
burning down. You know, I have a right to worry about protecting my own
one
property.
solution is to follow the zoning and to put in sanitary conditions that are, that's really probably one of the key things that has to be done.
We completely understand, can I say one thing? We completely understand that. We are trying our best to get us to where you want us to.
I get that.
Now, you said, you're seeing this piece by piece. Well, that's all what we're working with. We don't have the resources right now to make everything happen immediately the way you like it and the way we like it. You want to think we like it the way it is now. We're trying to improve it, and it's a day-by-day process. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. You understand? And if you understand the self-sustainability thing, then you know it takes time, it takes money, it takes effort. And right now we've had, you know, different groups come in, different groups leave. I feel now we finally have a stable, fortified group that really sees the potential in what we're trying to do. And we are going to do it, and it's going to take a little bit of time. But if we have the community support us, and you know we hear your concerns, we feel the same way. We're not trying to, you know, sneak around and have shady business. We're out in the open. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to do something that's going to be beneficial for everybody in the long run. And trust me, like the problems that you're stating, I seen them when I first got there. So I completely understand. And we will, trust me, we will work and get this over, and I feel everybody will.
I'm sure you will, but in the meantime, however long that may take, and it's been a year already, you're still threatening the groundwater and the land way that you cannot be on that mountain with 100 people with no
To
facilities.
be honest with you, I hope to God that we will get 100 people. Honestly, we'll probably get anywhere between 50 or, you know.
Still, you don't have facilities, you're just digging holes in the ground up on the mountain.
Alright, I don't know.
No,
Well,
we
that's
will
what
be
we
getting.
saw online, is that we saw, a lot of us have seen the drone, and what's been dug,
This was for the past, for this event specifically?
not for the event, for what's been going on the mountain that we also
The
love.
video online about you.
I mean, that's really, you're arguing with us
When
about
is
a
Fenton
mountain that
in his
we
office, on
love,
Tuesday?
grown up in this area, John's region as well.
He's not here on Monday.
And that is a big issue for me,
Huh?
the facilities
He's
that
here
you
Monday?
don't have. And you're saying, help us, well, that's an obvious one to have facilities. And usually, you get the money and you move
He's
it,
in a
Darlene
training
says, in
today.
increments. And then when you
Well, it's 10
do
o'clock
the
at night, you should be
facilities and
home.
meet the zoning, you can't have it both ways. You can't use the
Till you call.
property inappropriately to hopefully raise money to make the property right.
But then if we don't ever have any.
I have to disagree.
All right. Listen, with this facility, with this thing, you're gonna have porta potties, correct? That's gonna be done,
Yes.
right? That's a given.
Yes.
What I would suggest at this point is that you have a call with John Fenton on Monday morning and go over this list of stuff that has to be done to make this thing happen, if it can.
Withdraw your request for a permit, you don't need one.
Right.
I beg your pardon on that. The Dutchess County
I'll pay any
Health
fee.
says, the Dutchess County Sanitary Code says, a camping unit where you have temporary residences, which sounds like you're going to have, you'll have
Where did
tents
the
up.
Dutchess County code that?
Well, that's part of this greater letter that came from John Fenton.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It has to be done. They
11
have
people or more.
Actually,
They
wait, if I could speak, actually, that's not true. We checked in. It says that if the event is lasting less than 60 hours, there is, per calendar year, we do not need a permit. This is the first time in one.
This is talking about sanitary conditions for 11 people or more at a temporary facility.
So but there will be
Meaning
sanitary.
tents.
But in other words, but there are sanitary facilities during the event. So that's why, and which we can get confirmation on.
All right.
Which we will.
So you can do that tomorrow.
Specifically for the event.
You can do that tomorrow. You can get your, we'll give you a copy of this tonight, so that you can get your stuff in line with Fenton. You gotta have a requirement for the bathrooms, and so on and so forth. And then have a discussion with him on Monday morning and see where we are. I'm not so sure you need a permit. So at this point.
Rarely agree.
We rarely. But I don't see, I don't know, that's, how's the board feel?
This is so much like a 60s event.
This, you're having this on the 21st and the 22nd, 2 days.
Yes, it is.
So are people going to stay over, or are you going to have 2 different groups? Do you know anything about that?
You're murdering the first group to the second group.
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand.
Not everyone is staying overnight. Those that are camping, there is an alternate campsite, which Echo has the location of. I don't know the.
Macedonia, is it it's Macedonia State Park.
I have an alternate campsite
Yeah.
that's even closer, I'd like to use it.
Yeah.
All right, we're not gonna resolve this tonight.
I just want to,
All right,
if everyone could excuse me for 1 second so I could just get a little bit of information.
all right.
And Pat, hi neighbor. Just, I understand that there is a possibility that that the event doesn't fall underneath the need for a permit, okay? But you said it is invitation only, and you've invited 3,120 people, of which 78 have confirmed for that, according to the site?
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay. I just wanted to know if that was the case.
Yeah, that's accurate. But once, as you said,
That was my only question.
Okay, and
Thank you so
only
much.
78 have been. Thank you.
You said 3,128 people have been invited?
Yeah, that was the invite that was posted on their site.
78 are coming.
30,000.
Yeah.
No.
30,000.
3,000.
Okay. I understand your sentence. It's next.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Would you make? Hey, come on. Can you make a copy of this for them? Or do you have it right here?
They received a copy on the 10th?
Yeah, got that.
Invite people to a party. How many people actually show up?
In person?
Trying to extend the effort.
They were attending the meeting and received a copy.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, that's very helpful.
What?
Echo.
Okay.
You take that list, you get your stuff together, you meet with John Fenton on Monday morning. They have a board meeting on Tuesday morning, correct? So you got a lot of homework to do to see what you can do to get John to where you're compliant, okay? And we'll leave it at that tonight because we're never going to settle this tonight. So that's what we can do, and we'll move forward, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the conversation, everyone.
All right? We'll see where we are with this thing.
I'd like for them to know that MTA, because you can't cut straight across from the train station.
Where are we?
Supervisor's report.
There's
Minutes.
resolution of benefits and approval of minutes under other matters.
All right, one other thing. Excuse us, folks. Resolution benefits for part-time. Excuse me, folks. What are we? Resolution number 40? All right, folks, do me a favor. If you could take this conversation out in the hallway. In the hallway, please. Brad, in the hallway. All right. Come on, folks. We have some other business we have to take care of. All right. Resolution number 40, 2013. Resolution establishing medical insurance premium contribution amount for 20-hour part-time employees. Hey, come on, guys. You haven't seen them all yet. Thanks, Marty. Let me know about that too, please.
Marty, you want it in the box?
I'll talk to you later.
Let him have it in the box. Yep. Or is it
Marty?
Marty?
Okay, so you're good then? Yeah. Okay, I'll take out your foil. He foiled for what you just did.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, folks. Bill, Echo outside. Go, please.
I'd have to foil a request of the resolution to read it.
See you in the morning.
You were appointed.
You will. At Amenia Town, the Town Board, Town of Amenia, held at the Amenia Town Hall on the 13th day of June, 2013, 7 p.m. Supervisor Flood, seconded by Councilwoman. I don't know why they put Councilman in there.
I'll second. Because you could second it.
Where am I, Councilman?
You're on council, you're on part of the.
Who seconded?
Move the following resolution
Who
to
seconded
wit.
it?
I did.
Whereas pursuant to Section 806 of the Town of Amenia Employee Handbook, medical insurance coverage is available to each full-time and part-time employee and each elected official of the town and their eligible family members. Whereas Section 806 of the Employee Handbook further provides that with respect to medical insurance coverage, the amount of insurance premium an employee or elected official is required to contribute is established by resolution of the town board, and as such amount can be stated as a specific dollar amount or as a percentage of the premium cost. And whereas the town board now wishes to establish a specific dollar amount of insurance premium part-time employees of the town who work a minimum of 20 hours per week are required to contribute for medical insurance coverage. And whereas the town board has determined that the establishment of a specific dollar amount of the medical insurance premium part-time employees of the town who work a minimum of 20 hours per week are required to contribute is a type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and therefore it is exempt from environmental review. And now therefore be resolved that all part-time employees of the town who work a minimum of 20 hours per week and who are eligible to receive medical insurance and elect to receive such insurance shall be required to contribute the following specific dollar amounts per month towards their medical insurance premiums, depending on the particular coverage such employee chooses to receive. Family premium coverage $375 per month, individual premium coverage $141 per month, subscriber and one dependent coverage $279 per month. Be it further resolved that the contribution amounts established above shall take effect immediately. The foregoing resolution was voted upon with all councilwomen and councilmen voting as follows.
Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
Discussion?
No, sure.
Has this been gone over with the employees who fall into this category?
Yes, there's only one.
There's only a couple.
Okay, great.
Yeah, one was not getting any benefits. A 20-hour employee was not getting equal benefits to another 20-hour employee. So
that was my only question.
Yeah. And when I talked to Jeff, who did the handbook, and asking, you know, how we get this resolved, and he said every time, it will come up every year as the premiums change. He said better to have a dollar amount, and if we change companies the following year, the coverage will vary, but the categories will still be the same. So that assures every employee will.
Sure, across the board, they're covered.
Yeah, so now everybody has,
equal access to it.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks.
Dawn?
Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle?
Yeah.
Councilman Prodi?
Sorry.
Yes. Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Supervisor's report. I'll make it quick. What's that?
We'll do minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we're missing some. We're missing one.
May 9th has
Right.
not been distributed because by the time I had sent that out, it wasn't part of the email, so I couldn't add it when she asked for the list because you haven't read them. So I have to give them to you
Okay.
for the next
So
one.
by
Yeah,
soon.
you guys
All
read
right.
them for the next one.
All right.
You know, I just couldn't.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as read, as done.
I didn't attach them, so it's my fault.
Okay. Everybody read the minutes?
I'll second it.
I didn't read the last
She didn't
two.
read 'em?
I didn't read the last two because I didn't realize they were separate.
Okay, we'll do it next time then.
Well,
Do
I could-
all of them, or you want to just do the last two?
Just the last two. I'm fine with the ones
The
before.
29th and the 5th, so
All
we
right,
can
so
accept all
let's-
of them except
The
those.
28th, 11th, the 25th, and 29th. Okay, I'll make that motion.
Yeah.
And I'll second that.
Councilman Reamer?
Yes.
Parodi? Yes. Hitzelberger?
Abstain.
Doyle?
Yes.
And Flood?
Yes. Last week, Tuesday, was it last Tuesday?
Yeah.
Gretchen and I went to West Stockbridge and we met with is she the supervisor? No, she's the town manager, and we met with the facility manager of the West Stockbridge Town Hall, who has a geothermal system. I think you were there. Some of you were there.
I was there.
Yeah.
Actually,
You went too. Yeah, you went out.
I didn't go on the tour, but I was there when you talked about it.
okay. Well, they have an open
System.
system,
Yeah.
and they're having issues with it because it's getting silt.
Yeah.
So they basically said that don't do an open, do the closed system.
Right.
And
this is what it looks like.
Yeah. But open is what they,
That's
I
what
mean,
it looks
closed is what Paul
Correct.
suggested.
right,
Yeah.
which is a better system than what
Yeah.
they have. They said if they had a close, they may do away with it.
Yeah.
But actually, I had Paul call them. Their building is much bigger than what this one is. And they spent $6.8
That's what
million
gets in an open
doing the
system.
renovations. think, something like that, so. It was great to see the system work. They were happy with the system, other than the workable components of it, other than they're having trouble with the silt. So we'll see what happens with it, but anyway, it was a good tour.
What's their backup? If they have the geothermal, do they
don't have a backup.
So they're going solo
Yep.
on that?
Yep, but they did recommend that we have a backup, a generator or something to run it, or another boiler.
Okay.
They did, and they are wholesale,
Man, that was
they're
here.
replacing their entire system. They're taking the geothermal
To have a
out.
backup boiler.
Oh.
100% out, and they're gonna replace it full scale, put in, go back to the oil, natural gas boiler, so.
Wow.
But I thought it was really great the way they were willing to talk with us about the problems that they faced and really point out the benefits that they were having because of the geothermal, and the problems really are from the silt, which we wouldn't have because it's closed. So.
It was good. That's all I've got. Town board comments?
Main Street Grant's going to be meeting Tuesday, 8 o'clock. I've talked to a couple people, yeah. Catherine's mailbox is full, so I haven't heard back from her yet, but Mike Delango might be interested in participating in the Main Street Grant with his signage, his fluorescent lighted signage. I spoke to him about it. So he may be interested in doing something with signage. And I was approaching Catherine about her painting her building.
Are we able
So we could
to-
spread the money that, we would have used for.
Did Mike find out if it was possible to reopen this to people who have not yet applied? I suppose we just go through
Haven't
the
heard
whole
from-
process, start from scratch.
Didn't he drop off papers today?
No.
No. He was
I
gonna
got an
drop-
email.
Gonna mail them to.
I got an email they emailed them, what he also said was that he spoke to the state, I believe, and that they said we should probably use the existing applications.
Oh,
I
really?
spoke to Larry.
Oh, really?
From the,
Yeah.
and he's interested.
Oh, dear.
So,
Okay.
but I think, let's see what we can do. If we can do it quick, maybe they'll work with us.
I say just go down the list of what you already have.
Yeah.
Move it on.
Get it done.
Yeah.
June 15th is a Appalachian Trail Conservancy and New Jersey Trail Conference activity at Dover. They're going to be showing off their boardwalk and their rail trail June 15th, 12 to 4 p.m. I'm going to go and just see what they've done, as they're a community that is friendly to the Appalachian Trail, and they're making it as, if anybody wants to see the map, I've got the map of where to go to. It's basically across near native plants on Route 22 in Dover, on Route 22. I'm sorry, Pauling. And then there's the Wasatch Project is doing their festival on Saturday. This Saturday, there's still probably tickets available. It's $125 per person, but it's a fundraiser. They hope to raise $50,000 towards their summer exhibitions. So if you want more information about that, let me know, because they're very excited. I think it's going well, and it'll be out on their porch of the Wasatch Project, the Maxon Mills, and they've got tasting tables and food and that sort of thing. So it's a fundraiser. If anybody feels like doing it, let me know. Wasatch Project, you can just Google that and get right to their website.
No, I don't have anything else.
What?
I don't.
All set?
So my turn then?
Yep, your turn.
I do have a few things. Dawn Marie has the package put together for the acceptable use policy, which you've all seen, and that's going to go out to all of the people who have email accounts. Based upon that, we did run an email audit, and we learned that 58% of our affiliates are not using their email accounts. So what we'll be doing is we'll be going through a certain amount of them. no usage since the beginning of May or the end of May. And we'll be contacting them through the email account, because it could be that they are getting their mail on a different device than logging in directly to the Outlook Web Access Lite, and it's not showing up on the report. So we'll send them out an email, and if we don't get a response from that, we're going to send them out a letter and say, do you want to keep your email account, or do you want to turn it off and just receive the communications in writing? Because although we would prefer to have all of our communications electronically, which saves the town money, it's not necessarily something that everybody has access to. Everybody thinks in this day and age, you know, you all have a computer or something, but the fact is people don't all have computers, and that's perfectly fine. Just let us know so we can close that account down and close that security hole in our servers. So that's happening, and nicely moving forward. Then I wanted to know what was going on with the lawnmower, with the lawn mowing contract.
About?
The existing
About
contract?
keeping him or rebidding or...
I don't know if you can rebid. I talked to him a couple times about, you know, obviously been so wet this week he can't mow. So when they bid it, it's all
very
the length of the
difficult to-
grass that they bid. So it's no time that it has to be done if you look at the bids. I know
I'm really talking about the amount of complaints that have already been placed against him providing the service in not an optimal way, which, I mean, as you well know, has mowed down $400 worth of plants for the garden club in one area in particular. And I've received complaints from other people.
So have I, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going by how tall the grass is. He let the ball fields go for 2 weeks, and they had hay fields. Yeah.
So is this something that we're going to just...
Let me talk to Ian tomorrow, and I'll see what we can do. I don't know legally what we can do to end a bid. I don't know how that can be done.
You have to really go through the process
Right.
of showing negligence, and it's not something that's going to happen right away, but you have to start documenting that on this date that, you know, they exceeded the 4 inches. But he'd have to take us through those steps, because
Right.
we've tried it in the past and we didn't get very far.
Well, I'm sure Gretchen can document everything that's been
Well,
described.
Well, I have documented everything. With
Well, I would think...
photographs when I've been in the area, or I've sent an email in to let people know who was making the complaint and what they were complaining about. Which I think is just important to do it. And on the same side, if somebody were to give praise, I would also send that
It has
forward.
to do with responsible bid. We have to say that he was not, in fact, the lowest responsible bid. So we
Okay.
have to establish the fact that he's not he's not doing this.
We just need to
Yeah.
establish the fact that he's not doing what the contract says.
Well, it's more to it when you
I think
have
he is
to,
doing the
he is the low bidder.
Right.
And in order to not accept his contract, you have to establish that he is not the lowest responsible bidder.
Okay.
So the attorney has all the language. We've tried this before.
Well, that's in the beginning when you accept it. It's not after he's doing it and doing a lousy job.
But I think we've tried in the past to move to, change to a
Can
different
you
bidder.
text me his number in the
And
morning?
it's a problem.
Are you here tomorrow or later? And then I'll talk to him. His name is Mike, right? I've talked to him a couple of times. I'll talk to him again.
Well, I thank you all for that discussion on that. And then I have just a couple of things that are more fun. Right? This is our public service announcement for information technology for the week. This is about a botted host. The word bot, it comes from 2 words, robot and network, so it's basically turning your computer system into part of a robotic network. And what happens is you'll be browsing on the web and you'll see an advertisement and you'll say, hey, that looks like a lot of fun, let me go ahead and click there. You click on that, and the next thing you know, someone has downloaded software on your computer which you don't even notice is there. you go to sleep, everything's fine, but that software is still running on your computer. Finally, somewhere in a different time zone, in a different place, or maybe your next door neighbor, you never know, someone starts using that software and they start looking for social security numbers, financial account numbers, bank statements, your bank password, anything they can get their hands on, and taking that information and bringing it to their computer. Or they use your computer to send out more virus messages to more people's computers, and so it expands the network. So that's what a botted host ends up being.
Are those cookies that are being deposited?
These are not cookies.
No, it's
These,
software.
this is software.
It's in the advertisements.
This is
All the
software.
pop-ups.
Most people get it from advertisements that just come up, which is why the Department of Homeland Security has recommended that you turn off Java in your browser. But our message for you is to never open up an attachment from someone you don't know. And be cautious when you click on advertisements on the web because you don't know what you're clicking on. So that is our IT message for the meeting. Thank you very much. Dawn Marie, I'll give that to you.
Thank you.
I'm almost done. Thank you again. This is the Garden Club of Amenia Limited. We'll be having the final lecture of their lecture series on Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Town Hall Auditorium. Our lecture for this month is about roses. Paul Arcario will be the speaker, and weather permitting, we will be touring Jade Hills Rose Garden. Suggested donations are $5. And we do have a raffle prize for anybody who donates. They can get a free raffle ticket, and we'll be raffling off probably a knockout rose this time around. So that's Saturday, 2 p.m., and raffle, refreshments, tea, finger sandwiches, and it should be a really good lecture because Paul is a really great lecturer. And then just one more, which I had to put in a bag because it was pouring rain. So,
Do you need a drum roll or anything? Because I could do that. Oh, okay.
okay. So, this is the Hidden Gardens of Amenia. The Hidden Gardens of Amenia tour is coming up on Saturday, July 13th, 2013. It'll be 10 to 4 p.m., rain or shine, $20 per person. And now, of course, we have PayPal. So you can buy your tickets online. You can also like us on Facebook. So we'd like you all to stop by and visit our website or come to the tour. It's a lot of fun. We have more new gardens this year. And we also are still having the technical gardens, and Dolores Holland's garden will be back this year, which is we're very much looking forward to. And we were able to keep Diana King's garden in, even though she's moved out of town, which we think is great. And I thank you for your attention, and I swear that's all I have.
Okay. We need an executive session.
Do those resolutions in the beginning?
All right, we had to finish.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'll make a motion that we go into executive session to deal with legal issues.
Second.
Do you want to take public comments before that?
No. Done.
Councilwoman Raymer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ferrotti? Yes. Councilwoman Hensel Berger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle? Yes. And Supervisor Flood?
Yes.